from President Biden to President-elect Trump today as lawmakers certified the 2024 presidential election.
The votes for President of the United States are as follows. Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida has received 312 votes.
And more from correspondent Robert Costa.
This was a bitterly fought election at many turns, but here is J.D. Vance, Kamala Harris, allies of both of these campaigns, mingling in the place they all convene to conduct the business of the people.
It was 4 years ago that a violent mob stormed the Capitol and attempted to thwart the process following the 2020 election. Wednesday marks the beginning of the legislative session here in Connecticut. Lawmakers have a lot on their collective plate, not the least of which is crafting a new biennial budget. Those who manage nonprofit organizations say they are severely underfunded. John Carl Casa is president of the Connecticut Nonprofit Alliance.
Many of them have had trouble getting staff because they don't have the funds to pay as much as they would like to. That means programs are being cut, and that means people aren't getting the services that they need.
Casa says nonprofits are being hamstrung by fiscal guardrails, adding that their funding is down some 30% from where it was in 2007. Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced his resignation today as his support has eroded. More from correspondent Chris Mavridis in Toronto.
Once Justin Trudeau's leadership resignation becomes official, the next step will be for the Canadian Liberal Party to find a new one, and that could take a while, typically about 6 months. Not unlike the U.S. primaries, the Canadian leadership process is also long and can get really ugly. Right now, the heir apparent is the recently resigned Finance Minister, Chrystia Freeland. It's no secret she got under the skin of incoming President Trump when the two renegotiated the North American Free Trade Pact.
Say goodbye to two federal provisions that limited Social Security benefits for public pension recipients, including teachers and firefighters. President Biden signed a bill that nixed those rules established around 50 years ago when concerns about the solvency of Social Security emerged. The average recipient will get around $360 added to their monthly earnings. Connecticut Education Association President Kate Diaz, who is at the bill signing Sunday, explains what's next.
So the next step is the Social Security Administration effectively has to go through and reassess each of the 2.7 million people that are impacted and adjust their benefits accordingly.
WTIC News Time 3:04 from the WTIC 24-hour traffic network. A couple of issues out here. Actually both along the shoreline, along Interstate 95. Down in East Lyme, there's a multi-vehicle crash, 95 north, between exits 72 and 73, that has the left lane blocked. We also have closure down in Westport. This is southbound on 95. Backups begin at exit 19. There is a crash involving a tractor trailer between exits 18 and 17 in the right lane. In Durham, Route 17 is closed in both directions at Stagecoach Road because of a two-vehicle crash. And some leftover road work to deal with on 84 West in New Britain between exits 35 and 33. They should be out there until about 3:30. Meteorologist Bob Cox has the WTIC Weather Center forecast.
This afternoon, temperatures are going to struggle to try to reach freezing and probably fail in a number of cases. There is some light snow and flurries around, and some parts of the state, in fact, a number of places around the state are going to see a bit of a coating of snow from these flurries and light snow areas coming through. Tonight, it turns partly cloudy and increasingly breezy as well. Lows fall back between 8 and 18 degrees. Wind chills could go below zero at times in some of the colder parts of Connecticut during the pre-dawn hours. We'll have mostly sunny, windy, and cold weather Tuesday. Highs just 25 to 30 tomorrow. Mostly clear, breezy, and cold Tuesday night. Lows in the single numbers and teens. Negative wind chills at times. And Wednesday and Thursday look mostly sunny, breezy to windy and cold. Highs both days just 25 to 30. I'm meteorologist Bob Cox in the WTIC Weather Center.
All right, it's cloudy, few flurries out there. 29 is the temperature in Hartford. Checking Wall Street, Dow's down 18 points this Monday. The Nasdaq's up 198, and the S&P is up 28 points. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. It's 3:06. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Men, it's the new year, and for many of us, it's a time of deciding to make positive changes in our lives. This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health. And if you're suffering with erectile dysfunction and are tired of the frustration and embarrassment ED causes, you should call Northeast Men's Health today, because there probably isn't a better resolution you can make than to be done with ED. You see, ED doesn't just affect you. It can also affect your partner, even if they don't talk about it. But here's some great news. If you're like most guys, the treatments at Northeast Men's Health will give you back your sex life, because our protocols have success rates that work in well over 90% of cases. Seriously, you might even find you're performing like you haven't in years. So make an appointment and get ED out of your life. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-930-5956 or go to northeastmenshealth.com. We have 5 offices: Salem, New Hampshire, Dedham, Marlborough, Woburn, Farmington, Connecticut. Northeast Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
Hi, Tom Shattuck here. I, for one, like a sure bet. Put money up knowing I'll win. That's why I bet on Awaken 180. It was a sure thing, and the results proved it to all of us. To be honest, before I started, I had my doubts. I thought, man, I'm looking at 400 pounds here very soon, and nothing's going to stop it. I was in a rut, a dangerous rut. Something had to be done. So when I talked to Paige Lopez of Awaken 180 Weight Loss, she was thrilled and exuberated at how big I was because she knew how much weight I was going to lose. Same with all my coaches. They knew it. They knew it was a sure bet. And yeah, that first week out, losing 8 pounds and then a handful of pounds every other week. My primary fat roll got smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And for the first time in really years, I was able to walk. I was able to even run. I was able to do all sorts of things. You know, when you're really, really big, the little things are big things, things like tying your shoes. But they said, no, Tom, this is a sure thing. You're going to lose lots of weight. And I lost lots of weight, but enough for me. Now it's your turn. Awaken180weightloss.com.
What's wrong with being an angry prophet denouncing the hypocrisies of our times?
Do you want to be an angry prophet denouncing the hypocrisies of our times?
Yeah, I think I'd like to be an angry prophet denouncing the hypocrisies of our times. Then grab it, grab it.
This is Reese on the radio, filling in for Todd Feinberg on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Yeah! What's going up, all you scallywags, nutmeggers, across the fruited plain? It's a pleasure to be here. Oh, man, on this first Monday of the new year, we got plenty of news and plenty of views to get into today, folks, but I do not want liberals who listen to this network, I do not want them to think that we do not consider how important today is. I know that today is a very, very solemn and important day to Democrats. So I don't want to just glom over it. So I want to show it the respect that it deserves. It's January 6th. Don't you remember? January 6th, it was the worst. The mega mob, they attacked us. January 6th, it was the worst. The mob, they came to rob us. They wanted to take the election from Joe. I could do this all day. I'm sorry. I just can't. I can't do it. It's not serious. I'm making too much fun of it. This day is going to live in infamy with these people. It's just going to live in infamy. There's just no way around it. They're going to be stuck telling us about January 6th and how horrible it was. It's like every year it's going to come back. So like, remember this day? Remember every year. First year, it's going to be nothing but J6, J6, J6 every year. And it's going to be even worse once everybody starts to come home. Once the pardons are announced, you know what's going to happen. Get used to it. There are no norms. There are no norms anymore, and you can't blame it on anybody but your homeboy. He set it up this way. And look, we're happy to oblige. Once you start lowering the standards are lowered. Aren't we supposed to get a conviction of President-elect Donald Trump on the 10th? Aren't we supposed to have that? Aren't we supposed to inaugurate a convicted felon thanks to the lawfare? Isn't that what's supposed to happen? Yeah, that's what's supposed to happen. Can anyone explain to me how anyone can say that the norms are here anymore? That's over. It's a wrap. We have the pardoning of the president's son after he said he was never going to pardon him. Wasn't going to happen. The rule of law, the rule of law, the rule of law. Now we've got people, and I meant to get the audio today, but I'm just going to find it because I got bigger fish to fry. I promise you I got bigger fish to fry today. But I promised my opening monologue would not change. And that is, we've got people who are on television this week, who said, and I quote, "We didn't lie about Joe Biden's cognitive decline." We've got the audio. No, we didn't lie. Chuck Schumer, leader of the Democrats. Nope, we didn't lie. Simone Sanders on MSNBC. No, we're not worried about his cognitive decline at all. He's gone now. When everybody could be telling the truth. They're not. Still telling us, nothing to see here. But if that weren't worse, can I really tell you the part that really, really annoys me? This is the part that bothers me the most. Think about this. The President of the United States is now signing executive orders to keep offshore drilling from happening under the new administration. Instead of just going away after all of the screw-ups, still trying to find a way to upset or at least thwart the incoming administration. But here's the big rub, everybody. Here's the real big rub. What the Biden administration is doing is nothing to do with Donald Trump. Donald Trump is going to do what he's going to do. He's going to get offshore drilling. He's going to get drilling back into the United States. He is going to make us a chief exporter across the globe, no matter what. But if you learned anything about what Joe Biden's doing before he leaves, this is the big screw you to the American people. This is he and his administration taking out their frustrations on you. You're the reason why he lost. And you're going to pay for it. And we're going to throw every obstacle in the way of this administration. Everything you voted for, the will of the people be damned. Because remember, that's the modus operandi of this administration. Anybody remember COVID? Who gives a damn about your freedom? Who gives a damn about the rule of law? Not these folks. So even if you are upset at giving the Medal of Freedom to Hillary Clinton and George Soros, why? Why be upset? Everything that's happening in front of you is par for the course. It's like you were asleep for 4 years. Were you? The man opened up his administration by pretty much killing everything that happened in the administration before it. He told the man, it was always about Donald Trump, by the way. It's always going to be about Donald Trump. It's never about you. What did this administration do the first thing it came in? Well, stop any building of a new border. Flooded people into the country immediately. Didn't matter who it was. Numbers kept rising. The level, the degree of which countries were coming through the southern border increased exponentially from places we hadn't even heard of before. That was the doing of this president. And what for? Was it in consideration of the American people? No. It was done to slap Trump in the face. The killing of the XL pipeline. What was that for? Because the United States was the chief exporter of oil? Who did it screw? People. They made it about Donald Trump, and everybody in the news media said, undoing all of Trump's policies, forgetting who they affect. Talking about the tax cuts, Trump's tax cuts. Not talking about the tax cuts for you. Not talking about how it affected you. When they talked about inflation, who did it affect most? Joe Biden. This inflation thing, it's really doing a number on his polling numbers. They didn't even talk about how it affected you. In fact, they didn't even consider it in their polling data. Gee, why is the president polling so badly? Is it because of inflation? But inflation's coming down. The economy's roaring. They never once even bothered to ask you. And then when they talk to you about it, did you see the video of Don Lemon talking to people about inflation? No, the economy's doing great. People were laughing at him. Because again, it's never and has never been about you. And these people are going to continue doing the things that they're going to do because they are Democrats doing Democrat things. They can't change. They cannot. Tiger will not change its stripes no matter what. And you know, and I think most Americans need to do, and I hear all these people outraged. I listen to them all weekend. These people screaming and hollering about Democrats doing Democrat things. And I'm going, when are you going to realize that the devil, no offense, but the devil's going to be the devil? A murderer is going to be a murderer. I'm not comparing them to that. I'm just saying people are who they are. You're asking them to change. Like, there has to be something that causes them to change. A realization, an error in their ways that they've figured out that makes them change. Oh, I've seen the light. They have no intention. They believe they're on the right side of history. They believe that their point of view is the right way. It is the only way. How can they change? It's you that don't get it. The masses. So it doesn't matter who you vote for. It doesn't matter what you say in polls. It doesn't matter what you do in your daily life. You have to come around to them. I said this a long time ago, and it's Ami Horowitz has a great video you need to watch. I played it on this show recently. He goes to New York, and he talks to all these people about, do we need compromise in Washington? And all of these people say, yes, yes, absolutely, we need it, yes, 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 yes. And then he starts asking them questions, what they can compromise on, climate change, abortion, health care. And the people go, no, we can't compromise on any of that. No, I got to see it our way. No. Same things here, folks. Same exact thing here. It doesn't matter that Donald Trump won to them. Ask them right here in Connecticut. Ask Lamont. Ask Chris Murphy. Ask William Tong whether or not there's a compromise here, whether or not it matters that the American people spoke soundly about this election. Ask them, it doesn't matter. Nope. They're still working the resistance, even though the tides are turning against them. Nope, still fighting. They are who they are. It's not about whether or not they can change. It's about whether or not they want to. And if nothing changes, nothing changes. It's that simple. If nothing changes, nothing changes. So we've only got a couple of days until this administration is gone. That's fine. But what is left behind will be a lot of work to get done. And guess what? If Donald Trump doesn't deliver immediately in the first 100 days, people are going to have a lot to say about it. And there will not be any looking back saying, hey, Joe Biden threw a wrench in the works. There will never be any of that. They will forget that man, and they will pay attention to everything that Donald Trump does. And that's fine. I'm sure that guy, Donald Trump, takes that head on. He loves that headwind. One of the only few people in the world that take it on, with the exception of myself. I like that kind of stuff. Give me the opposition. I await the hate. But I hear all of these people talking about what's going on with these final sort of like these leaving sort of grenades all over the floor for the Trump administration or the incoming administration, at the same time talking about how they still believe in democracy, talking about how they still believe in the rule of law, talking about how they are the party that cares about the working class. Well, they still continue to do the things that alienate people. They don't want to win you over. They have no interest, none, into coercing you into seeing things their way. They demand it of you or else. And when you don't do the things that they want you to do, they do things like they're doing now. So expect more of it. Expect that opposition. I'm expecting a 2025 that's going to be so filled with opposition, with so much, my favorite word from Obama, brinksmanship. It's going to be fantastic and fascinating to watch as well. Dan says, I'm not worried about Biden's executive order. What's done by executive order can be undone by executive order. I couldn't agree with you more. That's exactly what's going to happen. All of this stuff. But you see everyone getting apoplectic about it. It's all anyone can talk about. Rama says the last 4 years were an internet gif. It would be Homer Simpson slowly wheeling in a golf cart over a tiny bridge and seeing it ablaze behind him. Yeah, all of it is over. So you'll deal with a couple of silly things for now until it's gone, and we move on. But like I said, I have bigger fish to fry. And let me break this down for you. If you haven't seen the article yet, go to insideinvestigator.org if you can. If you're driving, please don't. But you're going to enjoy the next half hour. Because our good friend, Mark Fitch at Inside Investigator, wrote a very, very amazing piece today. What came out today, I think he wrote it over the weekend, today, talking about the Hartford school system. And you guys know I've been railing about the school system for over 20 years. Well, the Hartford school system, and I talked to another teacher out of Prince William County, Virginia today, about the minimum 50. And if you don't know anything about that, you need to learn about it because I was a bit stunned when I heard it. It turns out that the Hartford school system, as are many others, are forced to give a passing grade of at least 50 to every child in the class, even if they don't show up to class, even if they're truant. They can only be marked a minimum of 50. We'll break all of that down. And also as well, we're going to have Anthony Spinelli, who is the attorney for Alicia Ortiz. Alicia Ortiz, you may recall, last month had an article in the Hartford Current. She graduated from the Hartford School and went to UConn, having not been able to read or write. I don't know if we're going to have Alicia on the show, but we definitely will have her attorney, Anthony Spinelli, on the show today. And Anthony is a partner with Barry Taylor and Levesque, LLC. And he'll be here to talk about that. I'm crossing my fingers that he'll have Alicia on the show or on the line with him so I can ask her some questions if she's interested. But we're going to talk about all of that. That is a big deal today. The education system in Hartford, Connecticut, and Black Lives Matter 860 has come up with a response. We haven't heard from the folks over at NAACP. I want to hear from them as well. I would love to know what they think about the inner city kids being passed even though they haven't shown up to school. And there's an interesting piece in that article about the graduation rate of the Hartford schools that will stun you. Stun me when I read it. And there's an adjoining story to this is that just a couple of months ago, Hartford teachers got a raise. And this story really contradicts the reason for that raise. We'll get into all of that, so stick around. We got plenty of news and plenty of views. And of course, like I said, Anthony Spinella, I'm saying his name wrong. Attorney Anthony Spinella is going to be here at 4:05. We've got this story in the Hartford, in Connecticut's Inside Investigator Report. And of course, your phone calls at 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. All right? So stick around. We got that and all of that. And check out the new set. If you want to check out the new set of Reese on the Radio, go to reeseontheradio.com so you can watch us live. All right? We'll be back. And after this, holler.
Hi, I'm Liam.
You're clear.
Now playing for a championship team. One shot can change the game and build momentum. You work hard to excel at what you can do best. You turn challenges into success. Teamwork and preparation are the bricks that build a strong, winning foundation. With Brown, Panderis, and Scott, you hire a team of lawyers that listen and successfully address all your legal needs. At BPS Lawyers, you get more than a lawyer. You get a law firm. Visit bpslawyers.com.
Hey guys, it's Jim Costa from Cash the Ticket. If you're planning on betting the NFL playoffs, buckle up. Betting football's hard enough as it is. We're doing the research for you. So listen to Cash the Ticket with Mike Valeni and I. We'll be dropping new episodes for every single playoff game. And that's going to be storylines leading into it, so some good football stuff, but also the betting nuggets you're looking for. Sides, totals, trends, player props, throw those in there too. Pre-game and post-game, we're going to be all over the postseason. Subscribe to Cash the Ticket on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Taking a fresh look at your health in the new year? Trinity Health of New England's Weight Management Institute is here to help. Our expert team of weight loss specialists and bariatric surgeons offer proven methods tailored to your unique needs. The new year could mean a new you with Trinity Health of New England's Weight Management Institute. To learn more, visit trinityhealthofne.org/yweight. That's trinityhealthofne.org/YWEIGHT.
Join us this Sunday for Tumulo Financial, your go-to for retirement planning and taxes. Tune in to the father and son duo from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. or catch the replay from 5 to 6 p.m. Tumulo Financial Retirement Planning with Integrity on WTIC NewsTalk 1080.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-511-3535. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-511-3535. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-511-3535. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-511-3535, 800-511-3535, or biglou.com.
And now, a WTIC news update.
3:30, cloudy and 29 degrees with some snow flurries in Hartford. I'm John Silva. WTIC 1080 News. Congress has certified the results of the 2024 presidential election. Security was tight in Washington today. It was 4 years ago today that a violent mob bashed its way into the U.S. Capitol in an attempt to overturn the 2020 presidential election. Snow and ice have created a treacherous trip from the nation's midsection to the mid-Atlantic. Vehicles slid off highways and crashed over the weekend. Washington looking at up to a foot of snow. Man accused of stabbing his father to death over the weekend due in court today in Hartford. Police say a 49-year-old Rabin Hakeem stabbed his 78-year-old father outside a Weston Street hotel over the weekend. Meantime, in Bridgeport, police continue their search for the killer of a man found shot on Saturday. Detectives say there was an altercation in a Lake Street home prior to the shooting that left a 27-year-old man dead. Norwich Public Utilities says a person injured in a reported boiler incident at their wastewater treatment facility on Sunday has been released from the hospital after evaluation and treatment of their injuries. And the Patriots now in the market for a new head coach. They gave Gerard Mayo one whole year to prove himself before canning him immediately after Sunday's season finale. Meantime, in the Meadowlands, Joe Shane and Brian Daboll get another year to prove themselves to Giants ownership after the team cratered to 3-14 this season. WTIC news time is 3:31. Bob Cox has the forecast.
This afternoon, it's cloudy, and there is a little bit of light snow and flurries in the state. Some places will get a little bit of a dusting or coating of snow out of this. And we'll look for high temperatures in the low 30s, winds averaging northwest at about 10 miles per hour. And tonight, it will become partly cloudy and increasingly breezy, lows between 8 and 18 by morning. Wind chills dropping into the single numbers above and below zero late tonight. Tuesday's mostly
Hey, can
sunny,
you hear
windy, and
that
cold. Highs
buzzing
just
by any
25 to 30. Wind chills will be in the teens tomorrow afternoon. Mostly clear, breezy, and cold Tuesday night. Lows in the single numbers in teens. Negative
Roseanne
wind chills
says,
at
"Hey, Joe."
times. And Wednesday's mostly sunny, windy, and cold. Highs
I don't
just
think he's
25
listening.
to 30. I'm meteorologist Bob Cox in the WTIC Weather Center.
Dow's down 35 points. NASDAQ's up 235. S&P is up 33 points. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Lowe's knows how to help you save time and money, no matter the job. That's why we can deliver supplies to your job site as soon as same day, so you have more time to get the job done. Because when you need it fast, we've got you covered.
Sokolowski, you're absolutely
Lowe's
right about
knows
Fidel
pros.
Castro
Valid
Jr.
on eligible in-stock orders and select zip codes placed by 2 p.m. for same-day delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase. More terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's
Joey,
lots
are
of
you there?
excuses for putting off life.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
If
there
you
you go.
weren't there,
One,
who would pay
Roseanne
the
says
mortgage and
hello.
other bills? With Ethos, you
What's up, honey?
and boom, family
what was the other
protected.
thing? Oh,
Ethos.
do you hear
fast
the
and easy
buzzing that I
online
hear?
term life insurance. Up to $2 million.
No.
No?
Bridge with
Okay.
no
All right,
medical
then this must
exam.
be me.
Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health.
You have drones flying over the house?
Ethos.com.
No,
That's getethos.com.
What's the difference between Alair Elder Law and most elder planning services? Alair Elder Law is a law firm, which means we can advise you on asset protection and next step planning to avoid probate and protect the other spouse for their future needs.
Now that you're in like the study,
Assets
you're in the
for spouse,
Say that
you can
again?
spouse
now that you're
will
in the study, you can do like a late night show in the smoking jacket and some Cavassier.
Oh,
Medicaid
yeah.
application and not necessary
Late night Reese.
strategies, you're getting much less, and often for the same
One of
price.
Roseanne's friends
Medicaid
says, "Oh, I
processing
like the
companies
picture of
can
you
be
up
slow.
there," and I'm like,
They may sound like a good deal, but a
am I
lot
gonna
of
do with
times
her?
they put the work on the family shoulders, which could mean it takes more time, which costs money when paying for care. Our job is education as much as execution. Finally, please ask the question, are you being referred to a Medicaid planning service for the right reasons, or might they be steering you? I'm Haley Allaire. For comprehensive senior planning for your family, the right choice is Allaire Elder Law. Compassionate counsel and proven results. AllaireElderLaw.com.
You know, as they say, one person's
1 minute.
information is another person's treasure.
Exactly.
Michelle, Happy New
That's
Year
why
to
I
you.
use NordVPN every time I surf the web. Features like Threat Protection Pro's safeguard devices from phishing websites and disable intrusive ads and trackers. Just check NordVPN.com, grab the deal, and see for yourself. NordVPN. Cybersecurity built for every day.
Now is the perfect time to start on your next success. When you apply to University of Maryland Global Campus by February 12th, you'll pay no application fee. An accredited state university, UMGC offers online and hybrid courses. Plus, you can earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. Get your application fee waived through February 12th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Crappy radio signal? Then listen to WTIC on the free Odyssey app.
We're back. It's Reese on the radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. Don't forget, we got the stupidest thing that I've read today. It's actually an interesting one. I like working out just as much as any other guy. I don't do it well, but I like working out and every now and again. Today's stupidest thing that I read today is how much are you willing to pay to work out? That will be at reasonoradio.com at 4 p.m. You can read it there as we do. We talk about it every day. Again, for those of you just joining us, we've got attorney Anthony Spinella, who's a partner with Barry Taylor and Levesque, LLC. We'll be talking to him about his client named Alicia Ortiz. She is a part of a big story in two papers, the Hartford Courant in December I think it's December 24th is where, if it wasn't, it was probably earlier than that. But in December, there was an article about her, as it was in the Connecticut Insider, about her graduating from Hartford High School, I guess, well, Hartford High School. I don't know which one she went to. But anyway, she graduated and she can't read or write, and she was accepted into UConn. Still trying to figure out that one. Maybe we can get some answers to that from Anthony Spinella. But then another article from Mark Fitch, our good friend from Connecticut Inside Investigator, wrote an article today talking about her case, but this story about the minimum 50 requirements, which in essence says if your child is truant, they show up to class or not, they're doing the work or not, they must get a minimum 50. A minimum 50 grade. And the interesting part of this article that blows my mind, let me see if I can find the quote, because the quote is the one that's the most alarming, and then we'll get to your phone calls. Hartford Public Schools graduation rate for the 23-24 school year was over 78%. That's great. I would like it about an 85, but okay. At 78%. Which is the highest rate for Hartford Public Schools in well over a decade. This according to a message from the Hartford Public Schools Superintendent, Dr. Leslie Torres Rodriguez. According to the state data, however, in that same year, 27% of Hartford Public School students were chronically absent. So someone has got to explain to me how you get both. And as they say in the hood, the math ain't mathing with an F. It's not. 860-522-WTIC. Tony's in Southington. How we doing, sir?
I'm doing good. How about you, buddy?
I'm all right, sir. So,
hi, Reese.
What
go ahead.
do you got for me, sir? I'm sure you want to talk about the Biden administration or this Hartford story.
No, I have three just general talking points and statements real quick that I want you to reflect on or use for future shows if you haven't talked about them already. One, remember, Democrats and liberals are all about my body, my choice for abortion, but not when it comes to the vaccine mandate, which caused people to lose their jobs, or people got more sick and developed new diseases and health problems because they were forced to take it or they were fear-mongered. So that's statement number one.
Go ahead.
Number two is I think the medals of honor given out by Biden, a few days ago was really pathetic. So all the liberal celebrities and above all, Hillary Clinton. I mean, that's a disgrace. I mean, that's pathetically disgusting. That's pathetic. And number three, the whole point of opening up the borders is to cheat with the voting by letting illegal immigrants come to this country, say and do what they want, say, oh, I used to live at that address, but now I'm homeless, or, spin it any way they want to, no ID, no proof of ID, especially in the sanctuary cities. They let them register to vote after 8 p.m. and still cast a ballot.
Yep.
That was the whole ploy in that for Democrats to win elections. It's not about all of us Americans. Even if you are liberal and you vote Democrat, did you really win? Is your life better because you allowed them to bamboozle you into thinking that you're being humanitarian?
They were they are willing to be bamboozled for the sake of the cause, I should say. But I want to go back to your commentary about Hillary Clinton getting the Medal of Freedom, right? The highest medal bestowed on a civilian. There is something that I found that's very ironic. Because today, as everyone is talking about, I saw Jake Tapper talking to Amy Klobuchar and others saying that, do you believe that America has forgotten about January 6th? And I sort of put that as sort of in opposition to the fact of these people would care more about the events of January 6th, and forget that Ashley Babbitt was shot, and unarmed Ashley Babbitt, I might add, was shot by a cop in the neck and killed. They would have us remember January 6th, forget Ashley Babbitt, and completely forget about Benghazi. The first time a
Yeah.
diplomat was killed overseas in over 28 years. And the 13 hours that those men had to protect themselves without the aid of the U.S. military or Washington, who could not be found. We still don't know where Barack Obama was during the events of Benghazi. Do you know that? We still don't know where he was.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
we have
you
more.
know what? Let me add one little. Yep. Go ahead.
No,
Yep.
I was going to say that all of these things that people keep saying we're supposed to remember, but no one, and we remember Benghazi, but we don't have anyone even talking about the anniversary of that on just recently on September 11th. Nobody mentioned Benghazi.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Go
yeah,
ahead.
you're right. Yeah.
What was your
you
last
gotta
point?
Forget about that. All right. My little point to that is, well, how come we're not remembering about what people did in Seattle, what people did in Minneapolis, what people did in Wisconsin, what people did in
Ferguson,
Philadelphia?
Missouri.
With like ruining, businesses, especially by minorities. You screwed them over, and you like blew up cop cars and stole their guns in Philly, and then what is that? The autonomous zone or whatever in Seattle.
Oh,
and
the autonomous,
all this
yeah.
other crazy stuff.
What was it called?
all this
Jazz?
crazy stuff. Yeah, where people actually all this stuff where more people had died besides that one innocent woman at January 6th, where no one showed up with any weapons whatsoever because they're upset. And Trump had nothing to do with it, and they couldn't prove it.
Again,
and
yeah, exactly. And they're still calling it an insurrection. Thank you, Tony. Much appreciated, sir.
All right, you got it, buddy.
You got it, buddy. Fred is in Middletown. How we doing, Fred?
Hey, good. I have two quick points. One about exercise. How much would I pay? Nary a penny. Here's my axiom. The intensity makes the activity. Do you remember Charles Atlas with his dynamic tension?
Sure. What? The world.
Yeah. So he didn't need any gear. Now, my thing is I throw a ball against a wall. I have a racquetball, a blue ball.
Okay.
And you can throw that thing like faster and faster and like catch it and throw it as quickly as possible. I work the end by dexterity. And you can work every muscle in your body doing that. Yeah.
Isn't that great for hand-eye coordination as well, Fred?
And that, oh my God. And throwing a ball is like, there's everything going on there as far as the, proprioception. I think that's a word. Yeah, everything. And then the catching of it. Yeah. And then like relaxing your eyes as opposed to stare the ball down. Yeah. I actually enjoy baseball because I throw a ball against the wall.
That's, that's exactly what my deal is. That's the only hand-eye coordination I'm good at. I'm great at baseball. I can catch, I catch a fly ball.
please.
You know how you try to find the distance and all that stuff.
Yeah,
I can do that with ease, but yet I can't
Yeah.
shoot a basketball.
Oh, well, that's a whole other thing. That
I know,
parabolic
but I
arc
feel
freeze.
like the two should, in essence.
No.
No. What I'm saying is that I can figure out if a ball is coming at me, right? And I can figure out exactly the moment. And with my left hand, because my right hand's my good hand, so my glove is on my what would be considered weaker hand. But I can check the velocity and the arc of the ball and catch it perfectly without even thinking about it. But a basketball shooting toward a hoop that I can look at, I can't figure out the distance and the level of which I should, or the degree of which I should propel push the ball. I can't figure it out.
One is calculating the parabolic arc and velocity of a ball that's already in motion, and the other is creating all that
good
with
point.
your arms and whole nother smokes.
Well, that would explain why I suck at it then.
Oh, and just one other thing, dude. I find like it's the best thing for a relationship is playing catch. Again, a ball you can't hurt yourself with, a soft rubber ball, but not like a squishy one, a bouncing racquetball. And throwing a ball, it's the best thing in the world. It's the most fun. And again, how much does it cost? Like the $2 or $3 that the racquetball costs.
Yeah.
And real quick about medals, I used to suck down the war porn. I used to hang with a guy and we'd watch that stuff all evening, smoke pot and watch stuff about Nazis and fascists and communists.
Okay.
And at the very last, as they were smoldering around them, there was dudes standing at attention and another dude pinning a medal on his chest, the Nazis, right? As there were people breathing down their necks. So this business of medals, and Napoleon said, Give me enough ribbon and I'll rule the world. Ribbon meaning like a medal to pin on some poor dope's chest. So, yeah, and then closing with this. You don't want no medal that came from Joe Biden at this point. And then that lot together, George, Hillary, this one, that one, Cheney.
I know. It's like the
Huge,
worst band.
right?
Listen to me. I'm surprised that the only person who did not show up was Messi. I'm like, if I'm Denzel Washington, I'm going, I don't know. But then Denzel Washington does the one thing that sort of makes me groan is that he gives Joe Biden this big, huge hug. And I'm going, oh, Denzel, I mean, I like Denzel, but that really, that messed with a little bit of his credibility in that moment.
At the end of the day, they're all whores. Look at what happened to Howard Stern. He and Joe had fellatio in public, man.
I know.
Right.
Thank you, buddy. Much appreciated. My good friend and bodyguard, Joe, is in Simsbury. Where you been, Simsbury, Joe?
Oh, just taking a little holiday time off.
I hear you,
so
sir.
Glad to be back.
It's a pleasure to have you back.
Yeah. So for a topic for another time before I talk about the young lady and the attorney who's going to be on with regards to that lawsuit. And I don't know because I didn't get a chance to listen at the end of last week, but did you have a chance to discuss the Democrat Congress people in the state of Connecticut who voted to prevent illegals who are convicted of sexual assault from being deported?
Yes. And I only talked about it briefly. I did not get into it because there's a lot of stuff to get into that because I'm trying to get a couple of interviews lined up for that.
Yeah, that's to me, that's beyond disgusting.
Yeah. Well, again, it's par for the course.
I continue to say this kind of thing on your show and Tom's show. And that is, at what point does someone who is proud to be a Democrat look in the mirror and say, what the heck am I doing? Who
how
am I
about this,
actually
women?
following these
Joe,
days?
how many times have we said it right here? It's not so much that the Democrat Party is doing the most ridiculous things, whether it's the woke stuff or the beyond the pale stuff or the pedophile stuff. It doesn't matter. It's that common sense Democrats, the ones who keep trying to shove everything down our throat, that is sort of like the anarchy that is Trump. That not once do these people step up and go, okay, I'm a Democrat, but that's a bridge too far. None of them. They don't stand up about it. And I think it was Jordan Peterson who famously said he talked to all of these Democrats and said, when are you going to address the extremism of your party? And he even said Robert Kennedy Jr. didn't have an answer for him because they can't. So nothing is too far.
I'm not even sure that extremism is the right word for some of these things. We're going to protect an illegal who doesn't belong here, who's gone through our court system, maybe sexually assaulted a child.
Yeah. And going to protect them because
we're going to say, oh, no, you can't be pushed out of the country. There's something very, very sick about that. It's not extremism because that's kind of their word that they try to pin on us.
Yeah.
There's a level of mental illness that I'm still yet to understand. But with regards
real quick,
to this,
what did you want to do? What do you want to say about the Alicia Ortiz story?
Yeah, so I've read the complaint, and she can't even read a one-syllable word. And I see the stories about the person who was kind of bullying her, the special ed person, and then there were other teachers who didn't come to her aid.
Yes.
And I'm just bothered overall in terms of this because as much as I have a distrust of a lot of the people that are in the Hartford school system, even though I went through it, but I went through it at a very different time where I was very proud to go through it, and the teachers did an outstanding job. I just can't imagine that a number of adult teachers participated in what is being alleged here. And I'm
don't
worry.
Inquire
about that.
I can, Joe, and I'm going to go. I got a hard break coming up. But listen to me. What you're asking is absolutely pertinent to the entire conversation, and there is a follow-up to that. I promise you, you are not going to be disappointed because we're going to address that when Anthony Spinella calls in. We're going to address exactly what you're talking about, how we got to the lawsuit that we're in, and it is fascinating when you find out how we got here.
Yeah, I could see the one teacher being a bully and just not being right in the head and not doing the right thing by Alicia, but I'm having a hard time accepting, and then I'm looking forward to being convinced that there were a number of other teachers who participated as well. There's got to be something else going on.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's
Trust
just my
me,
feeling.
it's a really good story when you find out how all of this, or at least the lawsuit came about. Thank you, Joe. As always, man, we missed you, buddy. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
You got it,
See you
sir.
soon.
All right, let's take a hard break, and we'll come back real short. We'll take John and Meredith. We'll see if we can get him in real quick. We'll be back. It's Reese on the radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Hi, I'm Joe.
You're clear.
USA.com, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 203-896-4000. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition, any price range, and more importantly, anywhere in Connecticut. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that is trash and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, because I love buying junk houses. I buy vacant houses, abandoned houses, condemned houses, and even foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 203-896-4000. That's 203-896-4000. 203-896-4000.
The county just requested more electric charging stations.
Orders have really amped up at Able Electric.
We need 3 more at First in Maine, and we just got another hotel chain.
It's no shock. Able Electric needs able electricians.
Grocery store wants charging stations too.
And fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it. Now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-329-2121. 800-329-2121.
Here we go.
800-329-2121.
Wait a minute. You have a smart speaker, and you're not using it to listen to WTIC News Talk 1080. What a waste of technology.
Indeed, a waste of technology. Make sure you download that Odyssey app if you haven't done it already. And we've got our own little section called What Happened Was, where you can download the Odyssey app. We'll tell you how to do that as well. Let's get right to the phones. John is in Meriden. How you doing, John?
Very well, thank you, sir. What a wonderful show.
Oh, thank you, sir.
My first question is, do you have a rant line like Todd used to have?
Oh, you are the best, John. 100% we do. It's called the Airing of Grievance Hotline, and we just put it live yesterday. So you go to reeseontheradio.com. That's REESE on the radio.com, and you can just click there. The telephone number is there. The rant that rant line, as it were, is the Airing of Grievance line, so you can leave your information there. So it's a 202 number. It's 202-723-1288. Sorry. 202 723 1288.
1288. Oh,
yes.
Wonderful.
Okay, so you can
now,
put it there.
My next one is
yes, sir.
America as founded. and still to this day is a constitutional republic.
Indeed.
And people keep using the word democracy. Elected officials, people on the radio, the TV, news media. America is not a democracy.
John, do you know
we
why
are
they use
a
it?
Constitutional republic,
John,
as founded and still to this day.
Do you know why they use it, though?
I don't know, but it's wrong.
No, you're 100% right. I'll say this before we go to the BPS Traffic Center. The reason why they use it is repetition is key. Keep repeating the lie until it becomes the truth. And then once it's done over and you start talking to people and you say what you just said, is that we are a constitutional republic, the rest of the public will look at you and go, no, that's not true. Everyone says that we're a democracy. And when you try to push back on it, you actually have to force feed it back to them. And then more and more people start telling, just as you just did, saying that it's a constitutional republic, more and more people will be educated. It's not accepting the lie.
How do we fix it?
Listen, not accepting the lie is how we get to truth. Never accept the lie. We cannot ever be conditioned to accept it as truth. We must not accept the lie. That's how it works.
Oh, Reese, I thank you so very much.
God bless
you,
sir.
God bless this constitutional republic.
You got it, sir. We'll talk to you soon. Now let's get our first check of the traffic with our good friend Mark Christopher, the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Reese, good afternoon to you. Good afternoon, everyone.
Hey, you're clear.
Hartford right now, southbound 91, just a little tight 33, down to 32, A and B. On the northbound side, 91, that moves well, Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. Westbound 84, that's no problem from Vernon out into Farmington. 84 eastbound, just losing a little speed as you move into the tunnel. 291, 384, that looks good east of the river. 2 eastbound's okay, Glastonbury into Marlboro, quiet Middletown. Waterbury looks good, 84 and 8. 91 in the Parkway, a good ride heading down in toward New Haven. And we do have a road closure out in Towland right now. Route 74 is shut down between I-84 and South River Road because of a rollover crash there. That's also affecting 84 eastbound. The exit 69 off-ramp is also shut down there, so look out for that. In Durham, Route 17 is shut down between Stagecoach Road and Coe Road because of an accident there. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
For the rest of our Monday afternoon, it remains mainly cloudy and cold, the high of 30. Tonight, partly cloudy, increasingly windy, quite cold with the low down to 15. Now windy with a mix of clouds and sun on Tuesday. That high 29 is going to feel like it's in the teens at best with the strong northwest winds. Then on Wednesday, again, still windy and quite cold with a blend of sun and clouds. The high 27, again feeling like it's down in the teens with the strong west-northwest winds. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Columbia Implant Center introduces AI technology to our multi-specialty practice and digital lab. We fabricate teeth replacement with efficiency, quality, and accuracy. 1 day, same day, 7 days. Call 860-730-6020 or visit ColumbiaImplantCenter.com.
WTIC is 99 and throwing a year-long celebration to 100 years on the air. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
It's 4 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. We have cloudy skies. 28 degrees is the temperature in Hartford, and the state's severe weather, cold weather protocol is in effect. Governor Lamont made the call earlier today to put the cold weather protocol in place beginning the end of today, and that will take us right through until Thursday. The protocol goes into effect, meaning that agencies and municipalities will now coordinate, work together to make sure that the state's most vulnerable population has what it needs to stave off the cold weather. The information on shelters and other services can be accessed through 211 or by visiting 211ct.org. In the Senate, they're in Congress today.
This announcement of the state of the vote by the President of the Senate shall be deemed a sufficient declaration of the persons elected, President and Vice President of the United States, each for a term beginning on the 20th day of January 2025, and shall be entered together with the list of the votes on the journals of the House and the Senate. Thank you very much.
Vice President Harris, in her role as President of the Senate, presided over the certification of the 2024 election of Donald Trump for president and J.D. Vance for vice president. The peaceful transfer, a far cry from what transpired this time 4 years ago when a violent mob tried to overturn the results of the 2020 election. From the nation's midsection to the mid-Atlantic, winter providing a wallop for millions of Americans in Louisville, Kentucky. The snow has been unrelenting. The mayor there, Craig Greenberg, is urging residents not to go out if they don't have to, while calling on others to check on their neighbors.
We've been helping other Louisville Metro government employees get to and from work that are in need of transportation. And if folks do have 4x4s and they want to help out, let your networks know, let your family and friends know.
In the nation's capital, they could get up to a foot of snow. On Wednesday, the State House and Senate will convene to open the 2025 legislative session, shaping up to be a challenging time when it comes to the state budget. Those at nonprofit organizations say they have been severely underfunded for years, even during good times. John Carl Casa, the president and CEO of the Connecticut Nonprofit Alliance, says organizations have been stymied by fiscal guardrails.
Much of the funding has proven not to be volatile. Somewhere between $500 and $900 million have been consistent over the last 6 or 7 years.
Casa calls the state of nonprofits in Connecticut in crisis and says he's hoping lawmakers will take that into account when crafting the new 2-year budget. Charitable donations are an option for people looking to help the victims of the deadly attack in New Orleans last week, but be safe while doing so is the message from the Connecticut Better Business Bureau. Its spokesperson, Kristen Johnson, says crowdfunding sources like GoFundMe are popular, although not always reputable.
But just because you see the names of the victims or their pictures used doesn't mean that there's an official connection with that family. So one of the first questions you want to ask is, did the family give permission to use their names and photos?
Closing bell report sponsored by Bouvier Insurance. Dow down 25 points. NASDAQ up 243. And the S&P up 32 points. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Men, the new year is here. And if you're like many of us, you're going to make a resolution to improve your health. But if you're feeling sluggish and low energy, if your sleep patterns are off, if you've been working out and aren't seeing the gains you used to see, making that resolution may not be so easy. This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health. And if you're feeling the way I just described, we can likely help you with that resolution because those symptoms probably mean you're suffering with low testosterone. And at Northeast Men's Health, we're experts in treating this condition. With our low T protocols, if you're like most men, the change will astound you. You'll feel more energy and better mental clarity. Your sleep will improve. Your workouts will be better, and you'll likely find your sex drive goes up as well. So call us today and get treated for your low T. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 800-930-5956 or go to northeastmenshealth.com. We have 5 offices: Dedham, Marlboro, Woburn, Farmington, Connecticut.
You're listening to Reese on the Radio, filling in today for Todd Feinberg on WTIC News Talk 1080.
And there's your answer, Cap Tooth. He asked the question. Are you filling in for Todd today? Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I am. Everybody always asks.
This could very well be the stupidest person on the face of the earth. Do I look that stupid? Yes, you do.
In the stupidest thing that I've read today, I've seen them all. Every one of them. These newfangled fitness places that you go to. Another one is like that Equinox place. I'll admit, I'm not cool enough to go there. Every time I see people walking in and out of Equinox, I say, wow, those people are gorgeous. I think that when you go in and have a membership at Equinox, they tell you that, you're not hot enough for this place. So I never, ever go there. So, I'm a Planet Fitness guy. It's for normal people, right? But there is this one fitness location where people are spending thousands of dollars, thousands a month to be a member. Go to ReeseOnTheRadio.com for the stupidest thing that I read today. It is astounding. And I've seen one of the pictures and I'm going, thousands of dollars for it really, I don't know what you're paying for. I have no idea what these places are paying for. I thought when I was paying $20 a month at Planet Fitness, I thought I was paying too much. Because I was like, I could do this at home. Well, not that I don't have any of that equipment at home, but it did inspire me to buy stuff for home. Joey, do you do the fitness thing at home at all?
Nah.
Not at all? Like you don't even run or jog or have a treadmill that you hang your clothes on to dry?
Don't have time.
So you've got so many things going on that your job is actually your exercise.
I've been here for 13 hours today.
Okay, well, that makes sense. So you would spend no amount of money
No.
on fitness because
No.
it doesn't even make sense. You wouldn't have the time to do it.
No, I'll probably take the dog for a walk around the block tonight. That'll be the extent of it.
Somebody told me that the hardest part about a gym membership is getting to the gym. That's the most difficult part.
This would be the guy to ask about exercising.
I'm totally going
Tony
to.
Orlando over here of the traffic.
Let's go to Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. Mark, would you spend more than $10 on a gym membership?
Right now, no.
Okay.
In the past, I have. Like before I got married and had children, I was at the gym 3 or 4 times a week.
And how much did you spend a month on that membership? Do you remember? $50?
No.
That's
maybe
too much?
20, maybe 20.
20,
back
okay.
in those days.
That's
yeah,
reasonable.
Maybe 20, yeah.
That's reasonable.
No, but I used to go.
Can you imagine spending thousands of dollars a month?
No.
It sounds crazy, right?
No,
Yeah.
but what you just said, I totally agree with. The hardest part.
You were the
of
one who
getting
said
the
that to me.
It really is. That's the hardest part of working out is getting to the gym because once you're there, you're motivated. You got other people looking at you like, hey, let's go, get moving there. Get your butt moving.
Yeah, you said that to me last week. I'll never forget
Yeah.
that. All right.
It's so true. It's so true. Well, you know what? I have a Precor elliptical in my house. Now, I have no excuse not to get on.
Do
that,
you
so.
use it or is there clothes hanging on it right now?
No, my son uses it.
Oh, okay.
I generally use it more in the winter months. So now is the time of the year. If I'm going to use it, I will use it. So I have no excuse. I have to get on it.
Yeah,
Get
there you
moving. Got to get moving. Hey, if you're heading into downtown Hartford right now,
you're clear.
Both sides of 84, okay, Farmington and Vernon, 91 north and southbound moving well. Cromwell up into Windsor Locks, 291, 384, okay, 2 eastbounds moving well. Glastonbury into Marlboro. Quiet Middletown, quiet Waterbury, 91 in the Parkway moving well, heading down in toward New Haven. Now, we do have a road closure in Durham. Route 17, that is shut down between Stagecoach Road and Co Road because of one vehicle accident there. And we have a problem out in Tolland. Route 74 is shut down between I-84 and South River Road. That's because of a rollover accident there. So I believe the exit 69 off-ramp is shut down. That's what the DOT is saying. If the ramp is open, you can only go to the left. You try to take a right turn onto 74 East, you won't be able to because of that problem there. Traffic and weather together on
It'll
the
be 6
WTIC
months
News
on the
Talk 1080.
18th.
WTIC weather.
Well, partly cloudy and increasingly windy tonight. It'll be very cold, low down to 16. Now, continuing with the windy conditions as we head through the day on Tuesday, a mix of clouds and sun, the high 29. Going to feel like single digits and teens at times with the strong northwest winds. Wednesday, windy, a blend of sun and clouds, the high 27. Again, single digits and teens at times with the strong west-northwest winds. Then Thursday, windy, still very cold with a mix of clouds and sun, the high 26. Back down to the single digits and teens with the northwest winds at 15 to 25. Currently, it's 28 in Meriden, 27 in Danbury, 28 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Hi, this is Joel Johnson with Johnson Brunetti. Do not make mistakes when it comes to Social Security decisions. Get our free guide, Social Security Decisions. Call or text the word security to request your copy. 1-800-705-1232. Call or text the word security to 1-800-705-1232 to get your free guide. 1-800-705-1232.
Investment advisory services offered through JP Capital, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance products offered through JN Financial, LLC.
Hi, Tom Shattuck here. I have Dave B. with me from Massachusetts. He dropped his 40 pounds with Awaken 180 almost 10 years ago, and to this day, hasn't put a pound back on. So, Dave, at what point did you know you had a lifelong solution?
When I kept the weight off the first year, when I kept the weight off the second year, when I kept the weight off the third year, when I was able to kind of just continue to sustain. And again, it was because I had the support. I know the support made the difference. All the different people I've talked to over the years, they've all been really very supportive. That was one of the differentiators where they were going to provide support to me for life. So it was the complete package. Paige, I want to say thank you for developing Awaken 180. It is an incredible program. It has changed my life, and I couldn't be happier. Thank you very much.
To piggyback on Dave's message, I also want to thank Paige for helping both me and Alice reclaim our lives. Don't set a resolution, be resolute, and lose your weight for the last time with the solution for weight loss. Reserve your consultation today at awaken180weightloss.com.
Eggland's Best, the only eggs with more fresh and delicious taste, plus superior nutrition, available in so many delicious varieties: classic, cage-free, organic, free-range, and pasture-raised. Eggland's Best, better taste, better nutrition, better
There we go.
eggs.
There's a lot happening in Washington and in your local neighborhood.
Yeah, it's just Anthony on the hotline.
Yeah, he
1080
told me.
on the
Thank you.
Odyssey app.
Yep.
To keep up with the latest.
We're back. It's Reese on the radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. And as promised, we do have this gentleman on the line now. Unfortunately, he couldn't get a hold of his client, but that's no big deal. He knows all the ins and outs of this case, and that is attorney Anthony Spinella. He's a partner with Barry, Taylor, and Levesque, LLC. Do I have that right, Anthony?
That's correct.
You are a partner with Barry, Taylor, and Levesque, LLC. And
Yes,
are
sir.
you out of Manchester?
Manchester, yep.
Yeah, I
Main Street,
love Manchester. That's my first home in Connecticut.
Beautiful.
So let's get into this to give everybody sort of a backdrop here. Alicia Ortiz comes to the States or comes stateside from Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico's in the United States, but she comes stateside when she is how old? Does she come to Hartford?
She's 5 years old.
Okay, so it's before school, I can presume kindergarten age, and she's been in a Hartford school system K through 12. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct. Her whole life.
Okay, and throughout this, when we're talking about an impressionable 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old is going into class that we presume is learning how to read and write. Now, my first question is, because everybody knows the story about Alicia. They know that, that she does not know how to read or write, but she got here. It'd be one case if she had gotten here at 9 years old and didn't know how to read or write, and teachers didn't know how to deal with her. But she is at the age where they're supposed to be teaching reading and writing and arithmetic, and she learns none of that or very little of it at that point. What I understand here is at one point, her learning is sort of guided by recording her class, or her classroom assignments. Can you tell me when this begins? Is this early? Is this later? Tell me how this sort of evolved into the state where it is now.
This happens in middle school.
Okay.
Around that time, the teachers threw in the towel as early as that in teaching her how to write and read. And as part of her special education plan, they actually required her to record these classes. And she would record the class, and every night she would go home and have to talk to text to get notes out of it. So she'd have to re-listen to the whole class, talk into a phone, and that would spit out, the typing for her.
Right. So every class assignment, in essence, was recording, re-listening, then, speaking to a talk-to-text to actually do the work that was required of her, using technology to her advantage. Talk about acclimating. But using the technology to do the classwork. But, of course, none of this is learning. This is just sort of wash, rinse, and repeat the classroom stuff back to we're regurgitating it back.
It's laziness by the teachers. It's at that point they're giving up and trying to teach her the basics, and the shortcut is just record it. I haven't been in school in a long time, but this is news to me that people even do this. But she was required to do that, and part of the problem was she had to spend every night going through these things, and it took up and consumed her entire life.
Sure.
As a child.
My question to you, Anthony, is, and there's, a lot of people are very skeptical of this story because I think one person asked last week was, did she have behavioral problems in the classroom? Like, was she unruly? Did she alienate teachers who didn't want to work with her? Was it that kind of dynamic between her and teachers, and that's the reason why they didn't teach her or she didn't learn? Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, she definitely had behavioral problems for sure.
Mm-hmm.
What she has alleged is that those behavioral problems were due to her frustration in not being able to read, write, add, or really participate in school at all. So what happens is you put a kid in the back of the room, you have her put her phone on record, and she just sits there for 7-8 hours. So of course she's going to have behavioral problems. She doesn't fit in with anybody, and she just has nothing to do. I mean, there are periods of time where in 7th grade, she literally went to classroom maybe 4 or 5 times. She just tagged along with the principal. That was their solution.
I'm sorry, what? Wait. She didn't go into the classroom. She would tag along with the principal of the school?
That was their solution. Yeah. We're not going to have you in the classroom, but you just hang out with us. And that's what they do. They would literally hang out all day long. And she went in the class 4 times.
Okay. All right. Well, I didn't even know that part of the story. Okay, the well goes deep. Okay, now talk to me about this, because this is a very important factor in all of this. And if I'm reading this correctly, maybe you can, I think I'm reading this wrong. So I'm going to need you to clear it up. By the way, if you're just joining us, we're on the phone with Anthony Spinella. He's the attorney and a partner with Barry Taylor and Levesque. He is the attorney for Ashley Ortiz, who is suing the Department of Education for Hartford. Is that correct?
That's correct, the Board of Education.
The Board of Education of Hartford. So clear this up for me if I'm understanding this. Part of the undoing here of the Board of Education in Hartford Public Schools, is the fact that Alicia recorded everything, and even some of the evidence you're going to produce that shows that these teachers had no interest in teaching her. Am I getting this right?
That's 100% correct. In these, monthly meetings, what they call PPT meetings, which was comprised of special education teachers, social workers, and the hierarchy of the school, my client would have to be there, and she would have to record it because she couldn't write anything down. And they made her record it, actually, and that's what ultimately backfired on them, because on those recordings, you can hear them not only apologizing to her for having dropped the ball for about 10 to 12 years, but the teachers are fighting with each other. They're talking over each other. They're passing blame on each other, and really accomplishing nothing, which in several occasions led my client to run out in tears. So, yeah, the mandatory recording is, I think, what the undoing is going to be for the Board of Education.
I mean, talk about your smoking gun. I mean, that's right. And I remember you and I talked, before, I think it was just before Christmas, we talked about this, and as I was on my daily walk with my wife, and when I hung up with you, I was like, I feel like Anthony just told me that they recorded the conversations the teachers were having about doing this girl wrong. And I was like, maybe I got that wrong, but I wanted to save it till today because I'm certain I heard it right. And thank you for confirming that. let's get into a little bit more background on this, because this gets crazier as it goes on. So we get this story today from Mark Fitch of Connecticut Inside Investigator. I know you read it. Which says that the Hartford Public School System, and by the way, they are not alone in this. I spoke to a teacher in Prince William County, Virginia, who confirms to me that this is going on in several states. That no kid, that if a kid shows up at school, whether or not they're there every day, 2 days, 20 days, no kid can be graded below 50 for that class on any given day.
Right. And I read the story too, and I was shocked, and I don't know why I am still shocked, but it's
right.
I mean, starting at a 50, you don't even have to go to school. It doesn't take much to get it up to 60.
Yeah, exactly.
One times,
So, and the article says, and for those of you who didn't get a chance, so here's a pull quote from Mark Fitch's article. He says, Hartford Public Schools graduation rate in 23 to 24 was over 78%, which is the highest rate of Hartford Public Schools in well over a decade. Again, this is a program that began 7 years ago. So he says that's the highest it's been over a decade. According to a message from a Hartford Public Schools Superintendent Dr. Leslie Torres Rodriguez, according to the state data during that same year, 27% of Hartford Public School students were chronically absent, with some schools like Bulkley High School and Hartford Public High School topping out at over 50% absent.
Right. And and show you how out of touch and clueless she is. She's bragging about the graduation rates. Well, they made it so a ham sandwich can graduate from any school in Hartford.
Yeah, and I remember in 2022, they had these superintendents walking through the streets of Hartford trying to get them to come back to school because of the chronic truancy problem that they had.
Right. And, apparently they've just let that go and now decided they're going to just pass everyone, which, explains why my client passed. But it explains why apparently 80% of the kids are passing. That you don't have to go to school and you don't have to do much even to pass if you do go to school. So it's a joke. It's a complete joke.
Yeah. Attorney Anthony Spinella is on the phone with us now. He's a partner with Barry Taylor and Levesque, and he is representing Alicia Ortiz, who is the young woman who is suing the Department of Education in Hartford, Connecticut. Two more questions, and I think these are very relevant to the case. The first one is, you and I spoke again before Christmas, and we had sort of talked about whether or not any other students or people have come forward and whether or not this is going to turn into a class action suit. Have you progressed anywhere in that area?
Not as of yet. I've had no other clients come forward.
All right. So, folks, if you're a parent out there and you're interested, contact Anthony Spinella, again, with the Barry Taylor and Levesque LLC group out of Manchester, Connecticut. Second, where are we on, what was how did we get to this part where she got accepted into UConn? Can you tell us a little bit about how that story sort of came to be?
Well, believe it or not, Hartford Public Schools graduated my client with honors.
With honors?
And with honors, and not being able to read, write, hold a pencil, or add 1 + 1. And she was accepted into UConn. She did have to go in a transition program because when she showed up to UConn, they said, you can't even take college classes. You don't know how to do anything. And, this has caused obviously huge amounts of psychiatric turmoil for my client, but
it's humiliating.
That's how it happened. They passed her and they passed her in the top of the class.
I don't understand. First of all, how do you not think that there's going to be blowback from graduating a child who can't read or write with honors? If anything, you put her in the bunch of people, you put her at the lower tier of her class, a graduating class. You don't put her at the top tier and get her into UConn. I mean, are they just insane? Was this a joke? Was somebody doing it to be funny?
It could be, but my hunch is that they've just been getting away with this for so long that they don't care. There's nobody who's going to look over their shoulder and say anything. There's a strong teachers union. have super protection, so they're just used to it. That's my hunch.
Okay, well, I want you to stick around. We got to take a break because we got another traffic break coming up in the bottom of the hour. But I want you to stick around for the next break because I need to ask you a question a lot of people are asking. This might be a little bit of pushback because, again, I think it goes to a lot of questions about parents' involvement in schools. And there has been very little conversation about Alicia's family life. We don't know what it's like. And we want to understand how because it's one thing for a class, or for teachers to just, socially graduate her in this case. But we haven't really heard much about the family here. And they've kind of been sort of absent. I don't know if that's a factor of her life or whether or not it's a factor of this case. But I'd like to get into that, if you don't mind, in a little bit.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, so stick around. We're on the phone with Anthony Spinello, who's a partner with Barry Taylor and Levesque LLC. He's attorney for Alicia Ortiz, who is the student that's suing the Hartford Public School or Board of Education, for that matter. We'll talk to him a little bit more when we get back. With that, let's get another check of our traffic with Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Reese. Thank you very much. Good
You're
afternoon.
clear.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hartford right now, southbound 91 delays 33 to 32 A and B. Northbound 91 moving well. Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. 84 eastbound, just a little tap of the brakes as you move into the tunnel. Westbound 84, same story, a little slowdown as you come out of the tunnel out to 47 Sigourney. 291 through 84 looking good. 2 eastbound moving well. Glastonbury and East Hartford. It's quiet in Middletown. Looks good in Waterbury. 91 in the Parkway. Okay, heading down in toward New Haven. Now, we do have a road closure in Durham right now. And that is affecting Route 17. That is shut down between Stagecoach Road and Co Road because of a two-vehicle accident there. And we have a road closure in Tolland. Route 74 is shut down between I-84 and South River Road. This is also affecting the exit 69 off-ramp off of I-84 eastbound. That is also shut down because of this rollover accident in Tolland. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Well, the rest of our Monday afternoon, it'll be mainly cloudy and cold, the high of 30. Tonight, partly cloudy, increasingly windy and quite cold, the low down to 15. Now, it's going to stay windy as we head through the day on Tuesday with a mix of clouds and sunshine. It is going to feel very cold. That high 29 will feel like it's in the teens at best at times with the strong northwest winds. Wednesday, still windy with a blend of sun and clouds. Still feeling very, very cold, the high of 27. Down in the teens, though, what it's going to feel like with the strong west-northwest winds that day, Wednesday. Still windy and cold with a mix of sun and clouds. Thursday, the high of 26. Friday, partly sunny, breezy, not as cold for a change, the high up to 35, but feeling like it's well down in the 20s with the strong northwest winds. Clouds to start Saturday, then sunshine returns, the high of 36. And a mix of clouds and sun for Sunday, the high of 39. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Get a head start to your day with WTIC News Talk 1080. Listen to us live on the Odyssey app before you even hit the road. Get the breakdown on the biggest news stories that Connecticut is talking about. To get started, download the Odyssey app and search for WTIC News Talk 1080. And now, a WTIC news update.
4:30, good afternoon. I'm John Silva. Governor Lamont has activated the state's cold weather protocol effective this evening and running through Thursday. The protocol ensures the state's most vulnerable residents have the resources and shelter needed from severe cold. Those in need are urged to call 211 or they should log on to 211crt.org should they need services. Snow, ice, and wind have been blasting a huge swath of the U.S. today. That's from the center of the nation's midsection right through into the mid-Atlantic. It is official. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance have been certified as the next president and vice president. Congress carried out its duties today, 4 years to the day. An unruly mob stormed the Capitol in an attempt to overturn the 2020 election. State Department of Energy and Environmental Protection has released the name of a man whose body was found last week in the Connecticut River in Haddam. Stephen Bauer was from Middletown, the 69-year-old found in the waters at Haddam Meadows State Park on December 30th. The medical examiner conducting tests to determine an exact cause of death. U.S. Attorney Vanessa Roberts Avery is resigning. Avery, in a statement, called serving the District of Connecticut the honor of a lifetime. Mark Silverman will take over as acting U.S. Attorney until President-elect Trump names a successor. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has announced his resignation after nearly a decade in power. The decision bows to rising discontent over his leadership and growing turmoil within his government, signaled by the abrupt departure of his finance minister. On Wall Street, the Dow lost 25 points today, while the Nasdaq picked up 243, and the S&P was up 32 points. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Attention small business owners needing financing. Swish Funding is providing funds for expansion, inventory, increased overhead, even slow cash flow to small businesses all over America with affordable funding as soon as one business day. And we're ready to help with funding from $10,000 to $2 million. If you've been in business for 1 year or more with a monthly income of at least $25,000, you can get the affordable funding you need with no collateral. Go to swishfunding.com today. That's swishfunding.com.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Stay locked in. Reese on the radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
I barely got even ready. We're back. It's Reese on the radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. We are still on the phone with Anthony Spinello, who is a partner with, I have to keep looking over, Anthony, I'm sorry, Barry Taylor and Levesque LLC. I can't believe I hung up on you by accident. I'm so sorry, buddy.
That's all right.
I apologize.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we get to the next traffic break, I just wanted to throw, so she gets to the country, well, I shouldn't say that way, but it's Puerto Rico. So she gets stateside when she's 5 years old. Her relationship with her parents, I was telling this to my wife. She said, well, where are her folks? And I got the impression, and I don't know why, but maybe you could clear it up, that maybe her parents are not English speakers. They only speak Spanish. Am I right?
Right. And actually, it's only her mom in the picture. But
Okay.
yeah, her mom does not speak English. She would go to some of these meetings with her to try to advocate for her daughter, but there are not a lot of translators for whatever reason. And it was difficult for her. And she also put her faith in the system, and didn't think she could challenge the administrator's decisions.
So the mother is under the impression whatever her daughter is doing, it's for her betterment. She trusted them.
Right. She actually picked Connecticut because of the school system before she became from Puerto Rico. So
No
she picked
offense.
this out.
No offense.
Yeah.
A lot of parents, listen, that's the one thing I said about Connecticut. I'm from New York. I look at Connecticut as always was like, as Ronald Reagan would say, the shining city on a hill. Connecticut is where the wealthy folks live. And then I get here and I'm
Right.
just like, hey, what's this Bridgeport thing? Like, I didn't understand.
Yeah, right, exactly. Like another world.
Yeah. And I'm
But,
like, whoa.
So she comes here with all this faith in the system, especially in Connecticut. And she just figures, well, if they're teaching my daughter, they know better than me. I'll follow their lead, and I'm not going to fight it. But her daughter fought it eventually when she became an adult.
Yeah.
But it took basically to ruin her life to get to that point.
What is she? How is she now? I mean, it sounds like
not great. I mean, she's good from the perspective of now she's taking up advocating for more funding for the school system, although I'm not sure that's the
Yeah, I
answer.
don't think that's the solution either.
Yeah, I'm not either, but that's what she's advocating, and more services for special ed. So she's taken on the cause, but just imagine being 19 years old and you can't even work at McDonald's. Nothing against McDonald's, but you can't add.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to work somewhere, and you can't get a driver's license because you can't take the test. So she's completely handicapped. So she's having psychiatric problems.
I can imagine. Yeah, that's I feel bad for her, but you know what? Listen, I think your lawsuit is pretty much going to make things right. I'm hoping that she at least gets to learn something, or at least she gets to use that money maybe towards her own education to get her life on track again.
That's the point. There's some services in place already, because we know this is going to take a long time, that are helping her, learn the remedial skills.
Yeah. Well, Anthony, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you, man, and thank you for coming in. If you have any other updates, you know how to get in touch with me and let me know. And if Alicia ever wants to come on and talk about her case, we'd love to have her.
Great. Thanks, Reese.
You got it, buddy. All right, folks, you got it, man. Have a good one. Let's get another check of our traffic with Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. Mark, a crazy story, right?
Crazy story. You're not kidding. Hey, Reese, thank you very much. Well, if you're heading into downtown Hartford,
You're clear.
overall, we're looking pretty good. Southbound 91, just a little slow. Getting by 33 Jennings Road. Northbound 91, moving well. Cromwell through downtown up into Winter. 84 westbound's a little tight coming out of the tunnel out to 47 Sigourney. Eastbound 84 moves well. Farmington out into Vernon. 291 through 84, okay, to the river. 2 eastbound moving well. Glastonbury into Marlboro. Heading into Middletown, 9 northbound's a little slow at the Aragoni Bridge. Waterbury looks okay. 84 and 8. 91 in the Parkway moving well. Heading down in toward New Haven. Now, if you are heading into Durham right now, Route 17 is shut down between Stagecoach Road and Co Road because of a 2-vehicle accident there. And in Tolland, Route 74 is shut down between I-84 and South River Road. And also 84 eastbound, the exit 69 off-ramp is shut down because of a rollover accident there. So that's the reason for the road closures there. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Well, partly cloudy and increasingly windy tonight. Very cold, too. The low down to 16 for us. Then as we make our way into our Tuesday, windy with a mix of clouds and sun. The high 29 is going to feel like it's in the single digits and teens at times with the strong northwest winds. Partly cloudy and breezy for our Tuesday night. The low back down to 18. Still windy and very cold Wednesday. The high 27 will again feel like single digits and teens. That's going to be the story for Thursday as well, with a mix of clouds and sun. The high of 26 and those northwest winds still at 15 to 25 miles an hour. 25 in Mansfield right now, also in New London. It's 28 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Join us this Sunday for Tumulo Financial, your go-to for retirement planning and taxes. Tune in to the father and son duo from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. or catch the replay from 5 to 6 p.m. Tumulo Financial Retirement Planning with Integrity on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Weather can change on a dime, and nothing is more dependable than an Aaron snow thrower. Save time, save your back, and be prepared with an Aaron snow thrower. Every Aaron's 2-stage snow throw is handcrafted in the USA with powerful engines that won't bog down in any condition. Aaron's builds the toughest machines for the worst conditions with a model to fit every need. Throw back what Old Man Winter dishes out with an Aaron's, the king of snow. Visit your local independent Aaron's dealer today.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
Or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481.
Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
Experience relief from oral inflammation and infection at Columbia Dental. Led by Dr. Mohammadi, our practice operates 7 days a week with extended hours, dedicated to restoring peace.
There we go.
Your smile. Visit columbiadental.com.
Because you've got better things to do at 7:28 in the morning than stare at brake lights. Traffic and weather together on the 8s all morning on WTIC News Talk 1080 and WTIC.com.
And we're back. It's Reese on the radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. We're going to get to your phone calls in a second. This was all sort of sparked this conversation about the young lady, Alicia Ortiz, when I saw the Washington Post story about her as well. Jim P. is in the chat room who just sent it to me. I was like, yeah, that was the first story I saw. And then I saw the Connecticut Insider story and then followed by the Hartford Courant story. And I immediately started reaching out to Anthony Spinella, and he contacted me, I think, within a day when we started. Anyway, 860-522-WTIC. I also want to talk about the Scher versus O'Neill case that many people believe prompted the education system to be as bad as it is today. And I just watched that documentary, or at least a little bit of that documentary, and I've got to ask one question. If you really believe that there is discrimination or segregation of learning in Connecticut, why is there segregation of education in Connecticut? What is the root cause of said segregation or racial inequity in education? Because I can tell you right off the bat, no one in the documentary that I watched seemed to address it. Even the plaintiff's mom in this case never seemed to address it. Everyone talked about a bunch of stuff that has no impact on education. Now, hear me out. For those of you who are advocates for education, standing up for the teachers, all that, this has nothing to do with them. Hear me out. One, a book can't teach you. A book is an inanimate object. A school can't teach you. They can put out the lesson plans. They can put out the curriculum. They can do whatever. They can put a teacher in front of your kid. But your kid's not going to learn because those things exist. It's not going to happen. The kid has to actually do the work. It's like putting a steak in front of a kid and never teaching them how to eat it, or even that it's food. And if you put the steak in front of the kid or you put the food in front of the kid, the only way the kid is nourished is if they feed themselves. Otherwise, you have got to shove it down their throat. But that's how everything in the world works. And I looked at this documentary, the Scher versus O'Neill case, and you know what everybody kept talking about? They kept talking about inequity. They kept talking about racial disparities. They kept talking about how kids need books. They kept talking about how people need money. How does that educate a kid? How do those things actually get the knowledge into the kid's brain? None of it does. It never has. Never has. The kid has to actually pick up a book, read, actually dissect what's going. I mean, literally, get some reading comprehension into what they're reading, figuring it out, and then knowing it. That's how knowledge works. And there's an uncomfortable truth. There's a truth that people are going to have to realize, especially in Hartford, especially in Bridgeport. In places where these kids are failing out of school or failing miserably, the uncomfortable truth is they don't want to learn. I'm sorry. Your kid doesn't want to learn. All you folks over at the NAACP, all you folks over at Black Lives Matter 860 at the Urban League, whatever Negro outfit you got going on screaming about racial disparities in education, none of it works. None of it works because you don't want to learn. None of you have learned. You keep treating this education thing like it's the white man's burden. It ain't. I can put two schools up against one another. And if the kids in the white school, in the rich white school, where all of the books are going, where all of the new knowledge is, where all of the great fancy computers are, if those white kids don't care about the things they're learning, those kids are going to come out working at Exxon, the gas station, not the oil company. Those kids have to apply themselves. Ask yourself why the Asian kids are doing better than the white kids. Because those Asian parents says, you dishonor our family if you do not learn. I'll never forget when Raymond Chong in my junior high school said that to me. He came in from China, he could barely speak English. And I said, wow, your mother is strict. He says, yeah, we have to get good grades because we dishonor our family if we don't get A's. We are exiled if our kids do not come home with good grades. That's a strict. Can you imagine that? What happens in the inner city? You see a kid walking down the street with books. What do they say? Yo, look at him, yo. He trying to learn and whatnot, yo. Yo, look at that kid, son. Yo, he got the textbooks and whatnot, looking like a Poindexter, yo. We come from these communities that ridicule, that mock brilliance. It's something to make fun of. We use words like nerds. Kid gets an education, you call him a sellout. You say he wants to be white. What kid wants to face those odds? What kid wants to learn if they know they're going to be ostracized by other kids? Who wants to? So I don't care what is in there. And if you really, really want to condemn, what are you going to say? Are you condemning the teachers? Are you saying that the teachers in the inner city school do not have the same vigor or don't have the same want and desires for those kids to get educated? Do they just not care? Let's go down that road. Let's go down that road. Let's just say that the teachers that are in those inner city schools, the ones that drive through your gun-laden neighborhoods, are going down there to fail your kids because they just don't care. Perhaps some of them are. But I got to be honest with you. I wouldn't risk my life in some of your neighborhoods to teach your kids. You guys shoot through churches. Keep it real. Keep it real. I saw a kid smoking a blunt at a funeral. Keep it real. Now, what may have happened to her may have been absolutely bad, and these teachers could be absolute scum. But we're going to have to deal with that elephant in the room. These kids don't want to learn. They got no interest in it. And you're going to have to make it, someone's going to have to make it a priority that these kids learn. And before I say that, let me take the calls. But when I take the calls, I want to say this. And this is the most important thing. I bring this up all the time when I talk about this woman, Oprah Winfrey. I think I almost mentioned this but last year, probably early in December. There was that story about Oprah Winfrey starting the school out in Africa. You all know the story. But then she was questioned. Wait a minute. Why spend all your money, Oprah, building those schools in Africa when Chicago has a clear problem, a deficit problem with black kids' education? You're a black woman. You donate the boys that you pay for the college scholarship for like 50 men in Morehouse. And she did. She talked about it on her own show. Why not build a school in Chicago that helps educate the poor and underserved kids in Chicago? She said, I tried. I went to the kids and I was talking to them, and the only thing they cared about was iPods and designer sneakers. And when she realized what they were interested in, she took her money to Africa. And my argument to that is, and it's the reason why I still believe, and I don't care what else it is that you might hate about Oprah Winfrey, this is bar none the biggest problem that Oprah Winfrey has with me, is that is right then and there she saw a crime being committed. against young black kids that she is supposed to tell every day, you need to work harder. You need to do this. You need to do that. I'm a success. You can be a success. And she had an opportunity to drag a kid who was running into traffic and say, come on over here, baby. We're going to get you educated. And she said, no. She said, those kids only give a damn about tennis shoes and iPods. I'm taking my money over the pond to go get some kids over in Africa an education. I'll leave these dummies to themselves. And then had the nerve to get an attitude about it when she was asked. After she made all of us watch her stupid specials. Look what I'm doing for the kids in Africa. And then people say, well, why didn't you do anything for us? I can do whatever I want with my money. Well, do whatever you want in silence. Do it in private. You didn't have to parade all of that stuff for us. What did you want us to pat you on the back while you ignored the children here? Telling us that there was a crime being committed against young black kids in Chicago when you decided to let them rot? Screw you. Spawn says, sorry, Reese, but you're preaching to the wrong choir. Many parents don't believe what you're saying. I know. It's daunting. It's sad, but it's sad. It's just sad. 860-522-WTIC. Let's go to Jim in Wellington. How you doing, Jim?
I don't know. I don't know. You touched on a couple of things, but let me ask you a question. I don't know if it's a hard question or not. You would know if it's a hard question or not. I certainly wouldn't. But here it is. How many times are we going to hear this type of situation concerning education and then associated to black Americans?
Exactly.
How many times? You mentioned Chinese. I'll throw in Japanese and any.
Oh, that's why I said Asian. That's why I said Asian. But yes, I had a Chinese kid who told me it, but I said Asian. Asian kids are kicking it.
Okay. It's not Asian. So then we'll do it this way. We had tens of thousands of Vietnamese come over here after the Vietnam War, and that's not an issue with those families.
Yeah, sure isn't.
And you had mentioned that it's a shame on the family if you don't do well in school.
Yes.
I think you associated that to Chinese.
Yes.
Well, there you go. Okay, so what's the repercussion if they don't get the good grades? The family kicks them out?
Yep. Oh, yeah, the family will disown them.
Well, hang on. You need to have a basic level of respect for your older family members in order to feel the fear of being disregarded by your family.
Indeed.
And right now, there are too many people, and it keeps getting back to black Americans, and I'm not picking on them. There's quite a few more.
They're the ones the most affected. It's not about picking on them. It's just stating a fact. They're the ones who are dealing with this the most. You don't have to caveat it. It's that bad in the black community because it is.
Well, I'm not going to caveat on it because I'm going to throw an Appalachian America right in there with
Indeed.
it. Okay. So that's where I was going with that. It's not just, but it's the same set of circumstances in Appalachian America, and here we are, and nothing's changed. And what are the policies that have been put forth, backed up by billions of dollars, backed up and affected by unions of teachers? And I don't want to throw this on teachers. I don't want to throw this on anybody. The case you're talking about right now, okay, that's in and of itself.
Right.
But I want to ask one question about the young lady. Her mother and herself came here from Puerto Rico. In what world was her mother not thinking that she should learn English by her? She should learn English.
Right.
And then help her daughter out as best she could.
Indeed. And it's so funny, let me tell you something, Jim. When I lived on 11th Street between Avenue B and C, this guy, Johnny, and I became good friends. And his brother was a great friend of mine as well, Tony. And Johnny and Tony, I went to their house. They lived right next door to me in a building. And I went to go have dinner at their house. It was the first time I ever had like brown rice or yellow rice, I should say. And their mother walked in. They're from Puerto Rico. Their mother walked in and she starts speaking to me in Spanish. And I said, hey, your mom doesn't speak English? And he goes, no. And they said, she lived here all of her life? He goes, she lived in America since she was 7. She lived in America since she was 7. She never learned English. Here's why. She watches only Univision and Telemundo. She only watches those Spanish networks because they're provided for it. And guess what? They've never, ever given her any incentive to learn English because when she got here, she was always on welfare and she always had her own language being available to her. So there was no other reason.
And what I will add to that is that when you're in a situation where the only thing that you can find or get is all the social services that the country can provide.
That's right.
And there's no motivation for you to go outside of that silo.
Exactly.
To get any other information, you guaranteeing that your family members, if they're children,
you couldn't do it. Listen, you couldn't do it in the reverse. You couldn't go to China and not learn Mandarin or Cantonese.
Exactly
you
right.
couldn't possibly survive going in those countries doing that.
And let me throw this in, and then I'll get off the phone. There used to be a time where a big debate: learn English.
Yep.
You come into America, you learn English. If you move to France and you want to live and work there, you need to learn French.
Yep.
It's that simple. I don't care if it's a bilingual country. I don't care if English is spoken very well there.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it, go ahead, sir.
No, Jim, I was going to say you're 100% right, and we have a people in this country that brag about how there is no official language of the United States, which gives me
Which is asinine.
Exactly, which begs me to ask, why not? Clearly, there's a reason that we should be.
You guarantee mediocrity if English, we're talking about America now.
That's right.
If English isn't your national language, you're guaranteeing mediocrity, and anybody that comes into this country that doesn't want to be an American, assimilate as an American, and keep your culture like my ancestors did. Your culture's at home. You spread it out amongst your friends.
Indeed.
But you want to be an American. You want to add what you have to America, and the first thing you do is learn the language.
Got to go. I'm sorry. I got to go, Jim. I'm sorry. All right, we got to take another break. Let's get to the PPS Traffic Center with Mark Christopher before I lose my cue. Hey, Mark.
Good afternoon, Reese.
You're clear.
Heading in Hartford right now. Look for delays 84 eastbound approaching 46th Avenue into the tunnel. Westbound 84 a little slow coming out of the tunnel up to 47 Sigourney. Both sides of 91 moving very well. Cromwell up into Windsor Locks. 291, 384, that looks good east of the river. 2 eastbound moving well. Glastonbury into Marlboro. Quiet in Middletown. If you're heading toward Waterbury, that looks good. 84 and 8. 91 in the Parkway, no issues heading down in toward New Haven. Now, we do have a road closure right now down in Durham, and that's affecting Route 17. That is shut down between Stagecoach Road and Coe Road. 2-vehicle accident reported there. And in Tolland, Route 74 shut down between I-84 and South River Road. Also, 84 eastbound, the exit 69 off-ramp is shut down because of a rollover accident on Route 74. Those roadways are shut down until further notice. We'll keep you up to date on that, of course. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
For the rest of our Monday afternoon, mainly cloudy and cold, the high only 30, then partly cloudy and increasingly windy tonight, the low down to 15. Still windy as we head through the day on Tuesday with a mix of clouds and sun. That high 29 is going to feel like it's in the teens at best with the strong northwest winds at times. Wednesday, still windy and very cold with a blend of sun and clouds, the high of 27. Again, feeling like it's down in the teens with the strong west-northwest winds. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
WTIC is 99 and throwing a year-long celebration to 100 years on the air. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
5 o'clock, good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. Connecticut's severe weather protocol has been activated by Governor Lamont. Temperatures will be hard-pressed to get out of the 20s over the next few days. So they went ahead and enacted that protocol that'll run through Thursday. That means agencies and municipalities will coordinate their efforts to ensure the state's most vulnerable residents have the resources and the services they need to protect them from extreme cold. Those who need shelter or that need information on services can call 211 or visit 211ct.org. Well, it was a far cry from what transpired in Washington at the U.S. Capitol 4 years ago.
Today, America's democracy stood.
In her role as president of the Senate, Vice President Harris spoke after Congress certified the 2024 election for President-elect Trump and Vice President-elect J.D. Vance.
One of the most important pillars of our democracy is that there will be a peaceful transfer of power.
Riots broke out 4 years ago after hundreds stormed the Capitol attempting to overturn the 2020 election. Former New York mayor and one-time Trump advisor and lawyer Rudy Giuliani has been found in contempt of court for not forking over assets to satisfy the tens of millions he owes to the mother and daughter he defamed following the 2020 election. CBS legal contributor Lori Levinson.
He's been trying to delay turning over information that would allow the Georgia election workers to collect on their $148 million defamation judgment against him.
Crisis, that is the word used to describe the state of Connecticut's nonprofit organizations on the eve of the opening of the legislative session. John Carl Casa, the president of the Connecticut Nonprofit Alliance, says they've seen a 30% dip in funding since 2007. Casa says that means cuts in programs to the developmentally disabled, homeless, and other vulnerable residents. He says he hopes lawmakers take that into account as they return to the state capitol.
We're in a state that has had surpluses for 7 or 8 years of about $1 billion to $1.5 billion. And to continue to be told, well, no, there's no money, we need to put it towards something else for the future, doesn't serve the needs of people in the here and now.
Casa says fiscal guardrails have also slowed nonprofit funding in recent years. Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has announced his resignation as his support has eroded.
Once Justin Trudeau's leadership resignation becomes official, the next step will be for the Canadian Liberal Party to find a new one, and that could take a while, typically about 6 months. Not unlike the U.S. primaries, the Canadian leadership process is also long and can get really ugly. Right now, the heir apparent is the recently resigned Finance Minister, Chrystia Freeland. It's no secret she got under the skin of incoming President Trump when the two renegotiated the North American Free Trade Pact.
That's correspondent Chris Maridi is in Toronto. New England Patriots owner Bob Kraft says they know of several, quote, wonderful candidates for their head coaching job. That's after he canned coach Gerard Mayo after one season on the job.
I don't like losing. I don't like losing the way we lost. Just things were not developing the way we would have liked, and it was time to move on.
Mayo and the Patriots finished 4-13. Meantime, they weren't the only local NFL team to have a bad season. The Giants cratered to 3-14. Team president and co-owner John Mara says he understands fans' frustrations.
Believe me, I understand that. It's a bottom line business. You're judged on what your record is, and our record is pretty lousy right now. And I get that, and I take responsibility for that.
But Mara decided to retain head coach Brian Daboll and general manager Joe Shane, at least for another year. On Wall Street, the Dow dropped 25 points today. The NASDAQ picked up 243, and the S&P was up 32 points. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Eggland's Best. The only eggs with more fresh and delicious taste, plus superior nutrition, available in so many delicious varieties. Classic, cage-free, organic, free-range, and pasture-raised. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Hi, Tom Shattuck here. I, for one, like a sure bet. Putting my money up, knowing I'll win. That's why I bet on Awaken 180. It was a sure thing, and the results proved it to all of us. To be honest, before I started, I had my doubts. I thought, man, I'm looking at 400 pounds here very soon, and nothing's going to stop it. I was in a rut, a dangerous rut. Something had to be done. So when I talked to Paige Lopez of Awaken 180 Weight Loss, she was thrilled and exuberated at how big I was because she knew how much weight I was going to lose. Same with all my coaches. They knew it. They knew it was a sure bet. And yeah, that first week out, losing 8 pounds and then a handful of pounds every other week. My primary fat roll got smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And for the first time in really years, I was able to walk. I was able to even run. I was able to do all sorts of things. You know, when you're really, really big, the little things are big things like tying your shoes. But they said, no, Tom, this is a sure thing. You're going to lose lots of weight. And I lost lots of weight, but enough for me. Now it's your turn. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
There you go, bud.
You're listening to Reese on the Radio, filling in today for Todd Feinberg on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Don't forget, we've got the 5 o'clock focus coming back today, but I want to take a little bit of time to revel at my new set. And if you haven't seen it, you got to go to reeseontheradio.com so you can see it yourself. Or if you're a friend of ours already on Facebook, okay, just, friend us on Facebook. And you can also friend us on Twitter, or X as it is now. I keep calling it Twitter. I don't think I'm ever going to stop. But you can go there and you can watch it. So we've got a couple of things here. And I know it's radio in most cases, so you have to describe things. It's the theater of the mind, if you will. So it's just some regular old shelving, as it hears. One of my first podcast microphones from 2007, before I got my own show at our former sister station in Boston, I bought this microphone right here. It's dirty, it's beat up, it's faded, but it still works great. It's still a fantastic one. Next to the picture of the other love of my life, other than radio, Roseanne, her photograph sits right there. This is my interview mic, which sits behind me. And like I said, if you want to check this out, go to reeseontheradio.com. Behind here is a DSLR camera, which is what I filmed my first documentary with, that camera right there. This is a cigar that I got on Election Day, or the day after Election Day, from Craig in the car. He and I become good friends so far. And, it could change. It could change. I'm kidding, Craig. I love Craig with all of my heart. And I serve a cigar. Somebody asked me, do I have a telescope over here? I wish I did. In fact, that's my next big purchase. I really need a telescope. I don't know exactly how to work them, but I really need one just to have one. Every good house I've ever been in has had a telescope. Anybody do I know who has any sense has at least purchased even a fake one, has had one, or the big giant globe that either sits on your desk or one that sits in your living room. Do you have either of those, Joey? A telescope or a globe in the house?
I think we have a telescope, like a chintzy one in the cellar for the kids. I always wanted a globe, though.
The globe is great.
Yeah.
Right? Like, would you want one on the table or on the floor? Like
one
giant
of those big floor standing ones where you just spin it and go, I'm going to go on vacation here.
Yeah.
And you land in the middle Pacific.
Exactly.
And you're like, that's a sign I should stop.
There are only two people in my life have ever had that globe, and that is Hakeem from Coming to America and any Bond villain when he told you what place he was going to blow up.
Exactly. And then I wanted to open and house the whiskey in it.
Ah, that's even better. Yeah. All right, let's get to the BPS Traffic Center with Mark Christopher, who doesn't buy globes at all. He just buys traffic stuff. Do you have a globe or a telescope in the house?
No telescope. We do have a globe, and that's because my son earlier, when he was in first, second, third grade, he was so into geography.
Uh-huh.
Now, let me ask you. Now, he asked me this question once, and I got it wrong. Does Pennsylvania have any border with Canada?
Oh, I want to say. Why are you saying yes? It does?
Yep.
It does.
Oh.
And I said no. I said no, but it's just a small little area.
It is a small little area, and I bet you it's Lake Erie, isn't it?
Yes.
I bet you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The only reason I know this is someone in my family is doing their citizenship test.
Oh,
and that's
really?
one of the questions. You have to name
No
certain
way.
amount of states that border Canada.
Oh my God! I never would have thought. Until he told me, I never would have thought Canada and Pennsylvania bordered. But that's very interesting.
It totally makes sense because Lake Erie, though. That totally makes sense.
But my son was so into geography, so he's got a globe upstairs somewhere. But yeah,
table one, not a floor one.
Yeah, table one. Yeah,
okay.
I think if you have a globe in your house and people see it, that just makes you smarter. In my estimation.
Totally.
You're just smarter. You're a smart person.
100% right.
If you're heading into Hartford right now, 84 eastbound,
you're clear.
48 Capitol Avenue into the tunnel. Westbound 84, that looks good. Vernon into downtown Hartford, just a little slow coming out of the tunnel out to 45 Flatbush Avenue. Look out for an accident now, 91 southbound between 36 and 35 A and B on the right shoulder. A little bit of a delay with that. If you're on the northbound side of 91, that moves well. Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. 291 through 84, okay, east of the river. 2 eastbound moving well, Glastonbury into Marlboro. Quiet Middletown. Quiet Waterbury, 84 and 8. 91 in the Parkway moving well, heading down in toward New Haven. Now, we do have a problem in Durham right now. Route 17 is shut down between Stagecoach Road and Coe Road because of a two-vehicle accident earlier this afternoon there. And in Thailand, Route 74 is shut down between I-84 and South River Road because of a rollover accident. This is also affecting 84 eastbound. The exit 69 off-ramp is shut down there because of that accident. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Partly cloudy and increasingly windy tonight. Quite cold, the low down to 16. Then remaining windy on our Tuesday with a mix of clouds and sun, the high 29. Going to feel like it's in the single digits and teens at times with the strong northwest winds. That'll be the case on Wednesday as well, as it remains windy and quite cold with a blend of sun and clouds, the high 27. Thursday, still windy and quite cold with a mix of sun and clouds, the high of 26. Again, feeling like single digits and teens with the northwest winds still at 15 to 25. 25 in Danbury right now, 27 in Bridgeport, 30 for New Haven. It's 28 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Lowe's knows how to help you save time and money, no matter the job. That's why we can deliver supplies to your job site as soon as same day, so you have more time to get the job done. Because when you need it fast, we've got you covered. Lowe's knows pros. Valid on eligible in-stock orders and select zip codes, placed by 2 p.m. for same-day delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase. More terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com. Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-329-2121. 800-329-2121. 800-329-2121.
ProHealth Physicians has proudly been keeping Connecticut healthy for nearly 25 years. ProHealth accepts Husky Medicaid, Medicare, TRICARE, and most major insurances. For trusted local care for your whole family, call 1-855-CT-MD-411 or visit ProHealth.com.
It's the 5 o'clock focus. It's the 5 o'clock focus. Come on, man. Focus already.
Oh, man. The 5 o'clock focus is in the house on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. This is a weird one only because I don't know what I would do under these circumstances. So I read this story that a family is overjoyed because they lost their cat 7 years ago. And I think that's traumatic when you lose an animal. I had dogs run away, Shaggy and Dobie. They would run away all the time when I was like 6. And not that they hated us or anything. It's like they were always behind the fence. And, you know, dogs do what dogs do. If they can get out of the fence, they go. And they'd be gone for days. And I would lose it for days when they was like, why would they come home? Where are they? I hope they're okay. And then, ironically, Snoopy come home. The Charlie Brown came on. And I lost it. We were watching it on television, and then I ran into my bedroom and I smothered my face into a pillow, screaming, Snoopy, come home! Please, just come home! It was very traumatic as a 6-year-old. I'll never forget it. It was really, it was. And my dogs were gone, and they would eventually show up, and it was just like, they would just run into the yard and act like nothing happened. Here's the story. A family has been reunited with their cat after 7 years. 7 years. Now, I don't know about you, but a year goes by, maybe 2, I'm getting another cat. Maybe 2 in the event one of them goes missing, so I have a cat. My question is this. Your cat's been gone for 7 years. You've moved on. At some point, you've, reconciled with the fact that your cat may not be anymore. When your cat comes back after 7 years, do you shun him or do you take him back in? I don't know that cat. That cat's been through things. The cat's got a different personality now. Other people have fed that cat. Would you take the cat and allow that cat to come back into your home? This is now a stranger. This is not your cat. This is someone else's cat. This is a cat of the streets.
Is this like an OPP type thing? I feel
No!
there's some
No!
deeper meaning to this.
No. Other people's cats? I don't know. I'm just saying that it's 7 years, Joey. Would you keep the cat? You just accept the cat back in your house?
Kudos to the cat for pulling a 7-year run and
No
coming back.
doubt.
My gosh. Cat's got some exposure now.
But the cat's been gone. Like you've moved on. You've probably, you know what? You're probably no longer a cat person. You're a dog person. Some people have become iguana people because they're slow. You know, and
this is where we need Dr. Doolittle. Like,
totally.
That cat needs to be spoken with. Like, what did you experience? And what made you come home?
And guess what? The worst part is that, again, the cat was reunited. So you know the fact that the cat had been living in a car wash for nearly the past 7 years. That cat's seen some things. Living in a car wash? And then you imagine you're going to come back home? That cat's not going to be the same.
Like, at what? I mean, I'm trying to think of this in the cat's point of view. At what point was the cat just like, psst, yeah, I guess I'll go back home now. I've had enough.
Exactly. And then now when you're running water, maybe you run the hose, the cat goes ape for no reason. Why's the cat attacking me? You turned on the water. It's like, I don't know. I don't know if I would keep a cat. Anyway, I'm just wondering, if a cat had been gone for 7 years, I've moved on. The cat's not coming back in my house. I don't think any animal would. It's a different animal.
Yeah.
How can it not be? Anyway, but would you, I mean, I don't know if do you have pets?
We have a dog.
Okay.
I can't do cats. Way too allergic.
Okay, fine. So your dog leaves for 7 years. I know you got youngins, so they want another dog.
I mean, yeah, 7 years. The oldest, the youngest would be 20 at that point.
Yes.
I mean, if he's still living at home, kudos.
Right. But wait a minute.
Wow.
When do you get the kids another dog?
I would get it for me. Forget them.
Exactly. But how long would it take you after the dog was gone for you to get another dog?
See, my dog is just resentful. The breed is resentful. So he'd probably leave just to be like, whatever, I'm out.
Exactly. So what, a year, 2 years, a new dog?
I probably won't even wait. It'd be like 3 weeks.
What? Wow. Jesus, you're heartless. Goodness gracious. 3 weeks? Goodness gracious. And you just get a new dog?
Yeah, it's got a new dog.
Okay, so 7 years later, the dog comes moseying back and says, hey, who's this guy?
Now you got to prove yourself now.
A fight to the death. No, I'm kidding.
You owe some back rent here, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Indeed. All right, let's go to the phones. 860-522-WTIC. Ralph's in South Carolina. Ralph, you don't have to answer the 5 o'clock focus if you don't want to. You've been holding a bit.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. By the way, we just found out how you get a Medal of Freedom.
Yeah.
You donate millions of dollars to the Democratic Party, hundreds of millions, or you're a criminal like Hillary Clinton, who.
I would go one step further. You allow a diplomat to die overseas and then refuse to get them help or to even search for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the things that like with Hillary is amazing. I mean, the guy from New York with 87 arrests, he should get 2 of them.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, and you know, she broke laws. She was supposed to turn over papers. She deleted everything. Nothing happened to her, but she got the Medal of Freedom.
Again, as I said earlier in the opening monologue, this is nothing more than this administration telling everybody in the country, they're slapping them in the face saying, screw you. This is what we think of your decision to bring back Donald Trump. We are just going to destroy every bit of the norms that we all hold dear. We're going to show you exactly how corrupt and inept we are and how tone deaf we are. Democrats doing Democrat things.
Reese, on vacation. I'm sorry, education.
Yes.
You got to, I mean, just look at, you had a man running for senator in the state of Georgia. Remember him?
What, Warnock?
No. The football player.
Oh, Herschel Walker.
Herschel Walker, right. Herschel Walker was in college for 3 years, and you listen to him talk. You think he had a college education?
No, he made me uncomfortable.
Put 2 words together, and I mean that's sad because he was an athlete. But you look at the kids in Baltimore
Oh.
and the kids in Chicago. And these kids, apparently, I mean, you could look at it two ways. Their parents don't care.
I'd say
their
I'd go
parents don't
further than
bet
the
on them.
Baltimore thing is Baltimore's problems. It has nothing to do. Remember, all of the things that they told us were the problems in Baltimore schools is that they didn't have black teachers representing black students. They have that. They didn't have black representation in politics in Baltimore. They have that. And it doesn't matter. It's the worst school system of any country and any state in this one. It is awful there. When I saw that story about the 41-year-old, now she's about 45 years old, that woman, 41 years old, couldn't read or write, graduated in 1999 and graduated with a 78 grade point average, and she couldn't read at all. We're talking about she can't read her mail. She couldn't read anything. And this school graduated her. That's exactly where we are in Hartford, Connecticut with this case with Alicia Ortiz.
That should be scary as hell to anybody in this country. But apparently, and I blame the people who vote for the same people back in year after year after year.
I'll put it to you this way. I blame the same politicians who keep advocating for these school systems to get more money to produce less.
Right.
That's the thing. That's the problem I have. Because
So the
I don't
thing
care
is,
whether or not those kids are learning because of the teachers or not. The point is that their work product is crap. That's all I'm saying.
Right,
The
but-
results are garbage.
But the thing is, Reese, I mean, teachers, and I don't know if it's their fault. Maybe it may be a combination of things with the teachers union allowing teachers to not teach kids or not educate kids. I don't know how you put it, but if a kid is that bad,
Yeah.
don't pass him.
You can't.
Get him back until he learns.
Indeed. That's what I said. I
But
don't
they
care
don't-
if that kid is a graduate if he's a high school senior at 26. I don't care. Don't send him out into the world until they can read and they can actually do the work. You just
You're
have to accept
100%
it.
You're 100% correct, and you can't blame the environment because look at Dr. Carson.
Indeed.
Comes from a one-parent family in the ghetto, and this man turned out to be one of the best neurosurgeons alive.
Herman Cain. The guy came from the
Herman Cain.
segregated South. The late Herman Cain is from the segregated South. His father was a limo driver. His mother was a domestic. He had to sit in the
Right.
back of a diner in the segregated South. He had to sit in the back of a diner and eat. He grew up in that. And that man became a CEO and a very prominent member of the Republican Party. So they can't tell me all that nonsense. Thank you.
Of course not, but
No, I was going to say thank you, Ralph. Let me move on. I got to grab some other people here. Doc's in Hollington. How we doing, Doc? Doc? Not there. Okay, no problem. Ray is in West Hartford. How we doing, Ray?
Yeah, Ray's here.
Hey, what's going on, sir?
I got a question to ask. I graduated from high school. I graduated from college.
Okay.
And I don't know where, I'm looking at my globe right now, and I don't know where in Pennsylvania it touches anything of Canada. 'Cause
Okay.
The water doesn't have any bearing on it, so that can't have anything to do with it. Tell me where where Pennsylvania touches Canada.
I'm going to have to look at this, but I've always known this because I apparently got stumped. Do you know where the Erie portion of Pennsylvania?
I know where Erie is. There's an island there called Grand Peaks Isle.
Okay, so if you look up at the right, it should be the right-hand corner.
Grand Peak Isle State Park.
Yes, and that is considered the Canadian border.
No way.
Yeah.
Why is there no border? Why is there no border crossing there? Why can you go ahead and go there?
That's a
without
great
passport?
question. I don't know, but I think that's what they're considering as the quote-unquote part of. It's a technical question if you think about it.
Well, well, the thing is that Sarah's campground is right there,
Mm-hmm.
and once you go to Sally's Diner and Sarah's Restaurant, you go straight up the road to 832, and that's the Peace Isle bike path, and also the main drag going up into the island. But there's no barriers in there. There's nothing to prevent you from getting into there.
Yeah, but I think we're talking about the sharing a border with. in the argument of whether or not it's like the island. I'm not suggesting that is a Canadian
Well, I'll tell
province.
you, if my U.S. citizenship depended on that question, I would lose.
Right, indeed. I totally get it. I get you, Ray. Ray, 7 years.
Anyhow.
7
And I do have a
years.
telescope and a globe. Bye-bye.
Okay, you got it, sir. Okay, I was going to ask him about the kitty cat. Oh, there's Doc. Doc's back. Doc is in Harrington. How you doing, Doc? Doc, you have yourself on mute or something? Maybe he's in a bad area. Okay, well, that's all right. We'll get him back. Let's read some of the comments. 5 o'clock focus. Cat comes home after 7 years. Would you take the cat back in your house? Or would you have moved on and got your another cat? For me personally, I would have gotten another cat. 7 years. If I loved animals, and I do believe that most people who have a cat or a dog are huge animal lovers. I'm a big dog lover. Not as bad as a lot of people are. In fact, I would, if there was a scale of 1 to 10 on loving dogs, I'm probably a 5, maybe a 4. Like when I see dogs, I'm very excited when I see them. Oh, look at him, he's so cute. I will do that. But I'm not running over to them and trying to pet them and, oh, can I hang out or can I dog sit? No interest. None. However, I do really like dogs. I see them when I drive and they're hanging their heads out. That's always a great delight for me. But if I had a dog and the dog left for 7 years, I don't know whether or not I'd be able to take the dog back. Dogs have personalities, like it or not. And they become very accustomed to wherever it is they were for 7 years. And if he was in the hard streets, like in the rough parts of town, living like a stray, and then comes back in the house, and I put my hand down to pet him or something, he starts growling at me, I don't know if I could let that dog back in my house. I couldn't do it. Said I wouldn't let my... Michael B says, I wouldn't let my kid back in if one of them went feral for 7 years. I don't know. I'm inclined to agree with you. If my kid went missing for 7 years, well, it had to be a teenager. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it's not like if it's a child goes missing. But even then, you'd be concerned. You'd be concerned. Your kid comes back after 7 years, like, whew, what the hell did he go through? No way. Did that once as a child. The cat was crazy. See, Spawn knows. You don't bring that kind of thing back. You just don't. Let's get another check of our traffic with Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. That's exactly right, Mark. I wouldn't bring that dog back or that cat back.
Oh, my God. Really?
7 years? You could not.
I would be so happy to see my little buddy after 7 years.
And you don't think that dog would have changed at all?
Well, maybe, but...
You worked through it.
You're not going to believe this. One time,
yeah,
I was walking both of my dogs. All of a sudden, I noticed there was only one dog. I'm like, where's the other dog? I'm like, how could anybody lose a dog that's on a leash?
Oh, my goodness.
So I panicked. I ran over to my friend's house, which was right around the corner, and they were eating dinner. I said, Phil, let me jump in your car. Take me around the block. I got to find Oliver. He's standing there with some family, like right around the corner.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't know what happened, but he was just sitting there going, I was like, Ollie, did you think about maybe catching up with us? He found some family. He was just hanging out with some family.
Which means he'll leave you at any moment, Mark. Yeah. He'll leave you.
But my heart was in my stomach for about 10 minutes. I was devastated. I lost my dog while taking him on a walk. How could that happen? Only to me. Hey, if you're heading into Hartford right now, some slow traffic in Windsor, 36 down to 35 A and B. An accident on the right shoulder. Another accident between 33 and 32 in Hartford. HOV lane block there. Northbound 91 moving well. 84 eastbound a little slow in the tunnel. Westbound 84 slowing both the bridge of 45 Flatbush. 291 through 84 okay east of the river. 2 eastbound moving well. Glastonbury into Marlboro. Quiet Middletown. Quiet Waterbury. 91 in the Parkway moving well toward New Haven. Right now, road closure in Durham. Route 17 is shut down between Stagecoach Road and Co Road because of a 2-vehicle accident there. And in, that would be Tolland. Route 74 shut down between I-84 and South River Road. Also, the 84 eastbound 69 off-ramp in Tolland is shut down. Overturned motor vehicle accident there. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
And now, a WTIC news update.
And the WTIC Weather Center forecast for this evening, partly cloudy skies on the windy side, lows in the mid teens, actually. Windy intervals of clouds and sun for Tuesday, temps nearing 30, and then a mix of clouds and sun for Wednesday with temperatures in the upper 20s. Right now, it is 28 in Hartford. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. Congress has certified the results of the 2024 presidential election. Security was tight in D.C. It was 4 years ago today that a violent mob bashed its way into the U.S. Capitol in an attempt to overturn the 2020 presidential election. Snow and ice created a treacherous trip from the nation's midsection to the mid-Atlantic. Vehicles slid off highways and crashed over the weekend. Washington looking at up to a foot of snow. Man accused of stabbing his father to death over the weekend was in court today. 49-year-old Rabin Hakim being held on $2.5 million bond in the stabbing of his 78-year-old father outside a Weston Street motel on Saturday. Meantime, in Bridgeport, police continue to search for the killer of a man found shot Saturday. Detectives say there was an altercation in a Lake Street home prior to that shooting, which left the 27-year-old victim dead. Norwich Public Utilities says person injured in a reported boiler incident at their wastewater treatment facility on Sunday is now out of the hospital after evaluation and treatment of their injuries. And New England Patriots in the market for a new head coach. They gave Gerard Mayo the heave-ho after one whole year to prove himself following Sunday's season finale. Mayo was hired to replace longtime six-time Super Bowl winning coach Bill Belichick. On Wall Street, the Dow lost 25 points today. The Nasdaq was up 243, and the S&P gained 32 points. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
After 30 years of doing knee and hip replacements, Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup thought there had to be a better way, and that led him to regenerative medicine.
I was one of the first orthopedic surgeons to do it.
Now, after 20 years of successful orthobiologic treatments, lots of clinical data, research, and teaching, Dr. Scheinkup is National Medical Director at QC Kinetics.
They've done an amazing job of becoming the most significant orthobiologic and regenerative medicine practice in the United States. QC is so far ahead of the game in its science, its protocols, its people, its facilities.
So if you have chronic pain from arthritis and you want to avoid drugs and surgery, call the experts in this revolutionary field, QC Kinetics.
To give patients real lasting relief from pain, that's what I live for. That's my mission.
Get your free consultation now. Call QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 860-440-PAIN. That's 860-440-PAIN. 860-440-PAIN.
Columbia Implant Center in Manchester offers the leading edge in technology which allows for dental procedures start to finish in one day. From a single tooth replacement to complete reconstruction, we do it all. Call 860-730-6020 or ColumbiaImplantCenter.com.
You know, as they say, one person's personal information is another person's treasure.
Exactly. That's why I use NordVPN every time I surf the web. Features like Threat Protection Pro's safeguard devices from phishing websites and disable intrusive ads and trackers. Just check NordVPN.com, grab the deal, and see for yourself. NordVPN. Cybersecurity built for every day.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get
There we go.
GetEthos.com. That's GetEthos.com.
It's the 5 o'clock focus.
It's the 5 o'clock focus.
I'm focused, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, wow, is it just after 5:30? Yep, 5:35 right now, so it's time for...
What had happened was...
It's What Had Happened Was, brought to you by the Odyssey app. If you haven't downloaded it, download it today so you don't have to ask what had happened was. And what happened was we started off the show with the opening monologue talking about all of the crazy things that people are saying that the Biden administration is doing before it gets out of here, like giving the highest civilian award to George Soros and to Hillary Clinton. I can't believe we would do this. It's par for the course. Pardon the son. Remember that? Just when you thought it was over, it gets worse. We also talk about the fact that Joe Biden is going to put in executive orders to stop offshore drilling across the country. Anywhere.
Hey, man, you got to give a shout out to Hillary. No one's kept a computer cleaner than her in 30 years.
Clearly true.
She had that sucker wiped so clean as immaculate.
and with a cloth? You mean with a cloth? Remember that? She said that to Ed Henry, like with a cloth. Also, we talked to Anthony Spinella, the attorney for Ashley Ortiz, who is the student a former student, if you could use that term, of the Harvard school system, who's suing him for $3 million because she cannot read or write. And that has spawned a fantastic conversation inside the chat room, which is why you should join the chat room so you can also know what happened was as well. So make sure you download the Odyssey app as soon as possible so you can listen to this show, Tom Shattuck, Brian and Company, and all of our fine programming here on WTIC. So download the app, and plus we got other stuff. We got podcasts. We got my podcast, which airs every Sunday at, now because baseball season and football season are over, it'll be at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Is that correct? It's 1 o'clock now, right? 1 o'clock every day, Joey, on Sunday, right? Sort of? Okay, he's doing something else. Anyway, tomorrow's show, we've got to talk about this story about the weed smoking. 2 years in, Connecticut legalizing recreational cannabis isn't the desired cash cow. I wonder who told you that. Who was it who possibly told you that it was going to be a failure? Oh, that's right, this guy. We'll talk about that tomorrow, as well as my good friend, what's his name? Chris Murphy. I say good friend and can't remember his name. Chris Murphy, my best friend. We'll talk about him as well. He's in the news today. We'll talk about that. All right, for that, let's get back into the BPS Traffic Center with my good friend Mark Christopher, who apparently
now, am I a better friend than Chris Murphy to you, or is Chris Murphy tighter with you?
No. You're definitely a better friend.
Yeah,
but
because
Chris,
you remember my name.
That's right. And Chris Murphy is my best friend.
I got you.
Absolutely.
I got you.
Chris Murphy, who does not lose his dog often, just
only
once or twice.
Only I could lose a dog that's on a leash.
That's
only,
okay.
That could only happen to me. Trust me.
Put a bell on him. That's
Seriously,
all you have to do.
I couldn't believe. I looked down. I'm like, Bruno, where's Oliver?
Wait a minute. Speaking of which,
Oliver.
When you lost the dog, did the dog have the leash on him, or was it? So it slipped out of your hand. The leash.
It slipped out of my hand, and like you think you try to catch up with us. No, he just hung out with some family around the corner.
That dog's gonna leave you. Don't give it a shot, man. Yes.
He's my
Oliver's
buddy.
gonna look around and say, look around and just go,
no.
That looks like a nice house. I bet you they have tender victuals and all that good stuff that we could do. I bet you they have a store bought.
Look, my dog's. You know what? I know he's going to stay with me because
Why?
I give my dogs doggy ice cream every night.
Oh,
so they're not going anywhere. Trust me, they're not going anywhere.
I'm not gonna lie. If you give me doggy ice cream, I won't leave.
Nobody wants to leave when you offer that up. Hey, if you're heading into Hartford right now, southbound 91's a little slow.
You're clear.
Between 36 and 35 A and B. Just a little rubbernecking and a crash on the right shoulder. We have another crash in Hartford 91 southbound between 33 and 32. That's in the HOV lane. So just use a little caution there. Northbound 91, that looks good now. Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. Westbound 84, eastbound 84 moving well. Farmington out into Vernon. 291, 384, that looks good east of the river. 2 eastbound moving well. Glastonbury into Marlboro. Quiet Middletown. I'm seeing some delays now in Plainville on 72 westbound coming off of I-84. So look for some slow traffic there. Once again, 72 westbound. Coming off of I-84 into Plainville. Looks a little slow there. Waterbury's okay, 84 at 891 in the Parkway moving well, heading down in toward New Haven. Now, we do have a road closure in Durham right now. Route 17 is shut down between Stagecoach Road and Cull Road from a two-vehicle accident that occurred earlier this afternoon. Also in Towland, Route 74 is shut down between I-84 and South River Road. Also, 84 eastbound, the 69 off-ramp is shut down because of a rollover accident on 74 in Tolland. Traffic and weather together on the 8s. WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
As we make our way through tonight, it'll be partly cloudy, increasingly windy, and very cold. The low down to 16. Remaining very windy for us the next couple of days. That is going to take a big bite out of the temperatures. A mix of clouds and sun Tuesday. The high 29 will feel like it's in the teens at best with the strong northwest winds. Same story Wednesday. Still windy, a blend of sun and clouds. The high 27 feeling like single digits and teens with the strong west-northwest winds that day. Still windy and cold on Thursday, sun and clouds, the high down to 26 with that strong northwest wind still at 15 to 25 miles an hour. And still quite windy on Friday, partly sunny, though not as cold, the high 35. Right now it's 23 in New London, 25 in Mansfield, 27 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Join us this Sunday for Tumulo Financial, your go-to for retirement planning and taxes. Tune in to the father and son duo from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. or catch the replay from 5 to 6 p.m. Tumulo Financial Retirement Planning with Integrity on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Lowe's knows how to help you save time and money, no matter the job. That's why we can deliver supplies to your job site as soon as same day, so you have more time to get the job done. Because when you need it fast, we've got you covered. Lowe's knows pros. Valid on eligible in-stock orders and select zip codes placed by 2 p.m. for same-day delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase. More terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Hi, Tom Shattuck here. I, for one, like a sure bet. Putting my money up, knowing I'll win. That's why I bet on Awaken 180. It was a sure thing, and the results proved it to all of us. To be honest, before I started, I had my doubts. I thought, man, I'm looking at 400 pounds here very soon, and nothing's going to stop it. I was in a rut, a dangerous rut. Something had to be done. So when I talked to Paige Lopez of Awaken 180 Weight Loss, she was thrilled and exuberated at how big I was because she knew how much weight I was going to lose. Same with all my coaches. They knew it. They knew it was a sure bet. And yeah, that first week out, losing 8 pounds and then a handful of pounds every other week. My primary fat roll got smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And for the first time in really years, I was able to walk. I was able to even run. I was able to do all sorts of things. You know, when you're really, really big, the little things are big things like tying your shoes. But they said, no, Tom, this is a sure thing. You're going to lose lots of weight. And I lost lots of weight, but enough for me. Now it's your turn. Awaken180weightloss.com.
If better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today and start the year off knowing you're giving your liver some well-deserved relief.
You can find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS or online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com.
Life is uncertain, but Columbia Dental guarantees same-day care 7 days a week with dentists and dental specialists plus an on-site dental lab in Manchester. For over 25 years, they've delivered the convenience you deserve because your dental health...
There we go.
Wait till Monday morning. Visit columbiadental.com.
Got yourself a smart speaker?
Alexa,
It's your new radio.
play WTIC News Talk 1080.
Listen to WTIC News Talk 1080 on Alexa.
Oh, we could do it on Alexa? No, I'm kidding. I do that every day on Alexa. Anyway, it's Reese on the radio. We're back. News Talk 1080, WTIC. We'll get to the phones in a quick second, but I got to have Chris Powell on the program tomorrow. Again, it couldn't get worse for Connecticut schools. Headline, rubber rooms in schools? Yeah. Rubber rooms. Now, I remember that teachers, at least the teachers used to call the rubber room, if a teacher got into a jam and they were taken off school grounds, but they couldn't fire them, they'd send a teacher out to a rubber room somewhere so they would spend the school hours in a classroom doing whatever. And then they go home. They weren't allowed in the classroom, whatever pending litigation or situation they were in. They called that a rubber room. But according to Chris Powell, there are rubber rooms at Enfield schools. Let me just read the first paragraph. A member of Enfield's Board of Education is sore that the school system has eliminated 100 staff positions as well as sports for many students, but is increasing the number of school seclusion rooms at the cost of about $4,000 each. The rooms, whose walls are padded, are used for the emergency confinement and isolation of students who have episodes of incorrigibility and can't be controlled, like the rubber rooms of mental hospitals, Chris writes. 6 of Enfield's 12 school buildings have seclusion rooms. There are 11 rooms in total. That means some schools have 2. And they have, presumably because the schools sometimes need to confine more than one child at a time. This suggests an epidemic of incorrigibility. So I will send a message to Chris. He sent this email to me. I must have missed it. But I will give him a holler. We'll talk to him tomorrow about this, as well as the not booming marijuana business in Connecticut. One that I warned the front office about as far as our legislation is concerned, but they went along with it anyway. Some things are just easy. Michael B says, yep, Waterbury has isolation/rubber rooms as well. And Johnny says, I would take the cat back. What's wrong with you? I think the problem is you, ma'am. You would take the cat back. Okay, now let's try Doc in Harwington again. Doc, you there?
I'm here.
Oh, there he is. What's going on, Doc? How are you?
I don't know. It seems like every time you'd switch to me, it'd get lost.
Yeah, I don't know why. What's going on, buddy?
Well, a couple things. First of all, I used to go to Europe all the time, and one of the countries I spent a lot of time in was Denmark. Now, Denmark has a rule. If you don't learn Danish within 2 years, you go home.
Wow. Is that enforced? Is that...
It's enforced. They had a small Arab community that refused to...
assimilate.
It was about 100 people that they refused to assimilate, and they got sent home.
Wow.
They put them on a plane and said goodbye.
How does that not turn into a national story, with all of this, kicking people out and, deporting? Like that, it almost sounds like that would be a huge story. I don't remember anything reported about that.
No, you won't, because that's every day to them.
Wow.
They think we're stupid for not having a national language.
I bet you that's true. Because again, this idea that we're xenophobic or too nationalist for wanting an identity with the backdrop of, well, we're a melting pot. I'm just like, it isn't a dispute that we're a melting pot. It is a dispute that we have an identity, a national one, as any country does. Like everybody else can have an identity. You can have a nationalist pride for Brazil. You can have a nationalist pride for, Bangladesh. But you can't have one for the United States. Like for some odd reason, we can't. It baffles the mind.
Me too. The other thing I wanted to speak about was in the early 90s, I taught at University of Hartford.
Mm-hmm.
And I had one student from the north end of Hartford. He did not take a test. However, in the lab, he was helping everybody else.
Okay.
His first test, he got a 22.
Oh, wow.
I pulled him aside after, what's going on? He goes, well, I have trouble taking tests because growing up, if you did too on a test, you get your ass kicked.
I'm sorry. He said if you do too well on a test, you get your ass kicked. Is that what you said?
The kids in the neighborhood because they thought they thought that you thought you were better than them.
Wow.
So I said, okay. And I said, well, how's your family feel about it? Mom just gets by. She says, well, it's in our neighborhood. You just get by. You don't ruffle feathers. You don't.
But that's, you know what?
Yeah,
again, listen. There is something very true to the idea that education is frowned upon in the inner city. And I watched this episode once of some Dateline or everything, and there was this Hispanic principal that they were trying to do a focus on, and he talked to this young Mexican girl, and he says, what did she want to be when she grew up? And she said she wanted to be a scientist. And he was like, ooh, you want to be a scientist? They don't let a lot of our people in there. And I'm like, why would you even say that? Like, that doesn't encourage children.
what I ended up doing was the next test. I was getting frustrated after about 20 minutes. I said, "Hey, here's $5. Go get me a coffee and get yourself a Coke." So he did and came back and he was a little bit more. I said, "Go get a drink of water." He ended up with a 74 on that test.
Wow.
The final exam, he got a 98 on when I did that.
So the kid was brilliant.
Get out of his head.
Yeah, he had to get out of his own head. But the kid is brilliant, and he was willing to sacrifice that brilliance so that he could sort of exist amongst his peers in his neighborhood.
Right.
Damn.
It was a survival mechanism.
Yeah, and that's, you know what, again, that is, again, daunting. It is. It's incredible. I don't know. I don't even know what to tell you, Doc. Thank you, man. I appreciate you, sir. Much appreciated. Thank you for holding and calling back. Let's go to White Mike in Florida. What's going on, sir?
Oh, man. You know what the solution to incorrigible children is?
A rubber room?
No, a paddle.
A paddle. Yeah, agreed. You know, can I tell you, Mike, before you go on, 'cause I'm going to let you finish, but I'm earlier in the show, I talked about Roseanne's friend, Linda, who works in Prince William County Schools. And she said that when she's a white woman, she says when she walks through the school and the black kids are in the hallway and she tells the black kids, "Hey, kids, get out of the hallway, go to your class," the kids will ignore her. When the black teachers walk by and say, "Hey, get in the class," all the black kids run and they go to class. And I was like, that's interesting. But she said there's a culture where the kids are taught to ignore white teachers, but to respect the black ones, which I thought was, I'd never heard that before.
Yeah, because, and as we all know, sir, there is no culture of black teachers being particularly unqualified and having the job only because they fill a quota, right?
No, absolutely. No, that's never happened.
That's not a thing.
Never happened.
No. Dude, look, I grew up in the Deep South and we were made to repay our debt for segregation. So they flooded our schools with a bunch of black teachers.
Yes.
I knew a kindergarten teacher who got corrected because a little white kid came home and counted to 10 and said 1, 2, 3, 4.
No.
Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4.
And the parents went to the classroom and chewed out the teacher for that.
Yeah, so those white Cajun parents were like, "Nah, Shad, that ain't how that's gonna be at all there now." No. So, dude, I don't know, bro. Look, the solution to these kids is need discipline somewhere.
Yeah,
and
indeed.
While I do know that black moms are notorious for beating their kids, apparently it doesn't work as well as being made to bend over a desk and get smacked with a paddle. And a lot of these kids are autistic and mentally challenged and shouldn't be in school in the first place. We need to weed these kids out and put them in facilities where they belong. And I'll go one step further. America is not going to succeed until we adopt the Japanese model for assessing children in middle school and figuring out where their strengths are going to lie.
That's such a good, you know what? Listen to me, that should not be controversial, but you got to look at what the numbers suggest in that model. And they are doing gangbusters. They're beating the pants off of American kids. And my wife even just said it. She goes, her son is, by American standards, advanced. But when you challenge his grades to other countries, he's an average kid.
Dude, there's no reason that we can't look at some kids and give them an aptitude test and say, this kid belongs in the trades. And there is nothing wrong with ending up as a carpenter or a plumber or a mechanic. Maybe you don't push everybody in the academic realm.
Indeed.
Teach them. Let them learn to do something. They'll be happier.
Newt Gingrich said it best during the 2012 primaries when people frowned on him for saying to teach those kids how to become janitors, and people thought that was a slight. He was like, do you know how much money janitors make? Do you know how much money the average union member in the custodial arts is worth? $90,000 in 2012. 90 grand.
Yeah. So, but again, I'm still a big fan of beating kids. I got spanked a few times in school. It worked wonders on me. I didn't steal Funyuns after that.
Thank you, Mike. Much appreciated. And I didn't know you had an affinity for Funyuns, but now we know what we're going to get you when I see you. Let's go to Dave in Brantford. How you doing, Dave?
My quick point is 1960 third grade, we had a wooden paddle in the classroom labeled the board of education. And while the teacher never used it, it actually spread fear for a pretty long time.
I love it. The board of education.
My xenophobic comment, the power outage last week for New Year's Day in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
The whole island is dark. ABC News was interviewing people on the street. Whose fault is it? What's the problem? Every single person they interviewed needed the translator. They all spoke Spanish.
Wow.
The xenophobe in me says, this is a United States territory. You're guaranteeing those people third world status and third world wages if they're not learning the King's English to make their way off that island with a good paying job.
That's such a wow. Now, that I did not know. I was not. You're saying every person that was interviewed spoke Spanish?
Well, they only had about 4 or 5 of them. It's like, whose fault is it?
But that's
Why is the
enough.
island
That's
in-
enough. You
in
don't
the
find
dark?
one. Yeah, you don't find one English speaker in the bunch that you're interviewing just for
And-
continuity's sakes.
And it might have been channel ABC for diversity reasons wanted to emphasize that these are American citizens and they don't speak English. Get with the program. But I don't agree with that. The
Yeah.
program is you speak the common language so you can go everywhere and do everything everyone else does.
So much
That's how you get ahead.
Exactly. So much for it being a U.S. territory, right?
I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Much appreciated, sir. That was a great call. High school get their funding, but how many students do they send to a 4-year college? I couldn't agree more, Gary. It is exactly what my problem is. Electric shock therapy is still allowed in Massachusetts. I don't know if that's a good thing. I don't know if that's a good thing at all. All right, as I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your minds. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. You have a good night and a pleasant tomorrow. Don't forget to check us out here. Go to ReeseOnTheRadio.com. He's Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. He's still got all his dogs. Good night, Mark.
Good night, Reese. We'll see you tomorrow. The traffic report being brought.
All right, buddy. Have a good one.
Thank you, man. See you soon.
Owned company. And 91 southbound coming into Hartford. You got delays now from 34 down to between 33 and 32 A and B. We have an accident there. HOV lane block.
Okay, so Michael B says that he loves the new setup, and I hope you guys do as well. Of course, I had to put my hero, Rush Limbaugh, here as well. Have a great night, Tuzak. I had to put my hero, Rush Limbaugh, here because I kind of feel like he's always watching over me. What I don't tell people is also hanging out on that microphone is the EIB Christmas ornament. I've had it for at least 7 years, maybe 8. I keep that around that microphone because that microphone, of course, is that's the logo for Reese on the radio, and it just always reminds me of Rush. But that's there. But this is it. This is the new format, and this is how it's going to look. Yeah, the new setup is fire. Thank you. So I just hope that you guys will enjoy the show and continue to come back. And we'll have audio sound bites. We'll still do the crazy video stuff. I'm not shaving. Let me get this out of the way. Okay, so if I look scraggly here, it's because I'm trying to get the entire beard filled up because my wife likes it, and it always looks scruffy before it looks neat. And so it's not growing in the right patches. It's not there yet. I got this Al-Qaeda thing going on here, but I'm trying to get... Oh, yeah. Is the backdrop permanent? Yes, it is permanent. And in fact, Craig, I don't know if you heard, that's your cigar right there. So I keep that. That's a memento of our friendship. That'll always be there. So you are a part of the fabric of this show because I love you, bro. All right. And you guys be good. It's always been a pleasure here. New year, new you, new show. And we'll get it popping. All right. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Be good.